Okay, can everybody hear me? Just give me a thumbs up very quickly so that way I know. All right, thank you. Happy New Year, everybody. At this point, I'm going to call the meeting to order. So please stand for a salute to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Statement of publication, please, Jessica.
This agenda session meeting being held on January 3rd, 2022 has been advertised and posted in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
Roll call, please.
No, we're going.
Oh, I'm sorry. We don't need our roll call. We're doing our oaths of office per.
So Councilwoman June 4, please stand and raise your right hand. And repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Eunice K. June 4,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will split the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
to the governments established in the United States
and to the government establishment in the United States,
and in this state,
in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform all the duties of councilwoman
all the duties of councilwoman
for a 3-year term
for a 3-year term,
expiring on December 31st, 2024,
expiring on December 31st, 2024,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Eunice. Welcome.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
Congrats, Eunice.
Thank you.
Next, Christian, if you can. Please stand and raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Christian Anal,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I'll support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey faithfully,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I'll bear truth, faith, and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established in the United States
and to the governments established in the United States,
and in this state,
and here in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I'll faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of councilman
all the duties of councilman
for a 3-year term
for a 3-year term,
expiring on December 31st, 2024,
expiring on December 31st, 2024,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, and congratulations, Christian, as well. I know. The little-
Congrats, Christian.
Congratulations. At this time, I'll call for a roll call now.
Councilpersons Conti,
Here.
4,
Here,
Mar,
Here.
Novak, Mary, you're muted.
She's on here.
Mary, you gotta unmute from your end.
Yeah, hit star.
Hit *6, Mayor. All right, I know she's there.
Okay.
Anoha,
Here.
Roberts,
Here.
and our professionals. CFO,
Here.
engineer,
Here.
attorney,
Here.
the business administrator.
Present.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, do you have more to go through that takes care of all of our? At this time, we're going to move forward with the adoption of the meeting schedule, which is attached. Does anybody have any comments regarding our meeting schedule? I believe we adopted that already.
It was talked about. It's the
It
same
was talked
schedule as it was in December. Nothing has changed.
Right, so there's no changes to that, so we're going to,
I
do we
need a
need a
motion.
motion to adopt the meeting schedule? Can I have a motion to adopt the meeting schedule?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the meeting schedule.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Conti,
Yes.
June 4,
Yes.
Mar,
Yes.
Novak, Councilwoman Novak, if you can just hang up and then call back in, maybe that will help. Anoha,
Here. Yes.
Roberts,
Yeah.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we'll be looking to designate the official newspaper as the Home News Tribune for the borough. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to designate the official newspaper as the Home News Tribune.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Conti,
Yes.
June 4,
Yes.
Mar,
Yes.
Novak. Gosh, no,
She was just on.
I thought she.
I did just hear. her.
You heard her?
I
Yeah,
thought she,
Oh,
yeah,
there
there
she
she
is,
is.
yeah.
Okay. Anoha,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yeah.
okay, at this time then, we're going to move forward with council president nominations for the 2022 year. Is there a
Did-
motion?
I nominate Pastor Christian.
I hear, let's see, I heard our newest councilwoman, Ms.
Yes.
Moore. Your nomination was,
Christian Onoha, Councilman Christian Onoha.
is there a second?
Yeah. I second.
Okay. And then we need a roll call, please.
okay, hold on.
No, we need all other nominations first.
Mr.
On that's correct. How it does is that you ask for nominations are made. Then you have a vote on the nominations in the order of submission. So the question is, are there any other nominations from the floor for council president?
Yes, I nominate Michelle R.
And I'll
you need a
second that.
second?
I'll second that.
Any other nominations? Okay, so at this point, then we'll move forward with the voting.
So the first one would be for Councilman Anoha.
So I don't know, did everybody hear that? So roll call for the nomination of Councilman Anoha for council president?
Okay, councilpersons June 4,
Yes.
Conti,
No.
Mar,
No.
Novak,
No.
Noha,
Yes.
Roberts,
No.
okay, that's 4-2. So now we'll go on for the one for Councilwoman Mar. Councilpersons Novak,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
June 4,
No.
Mar,
Yes.
Novak, Anoha,
No.
Roberts,
Yes.
okay, 4-2. So Council President is Mar.
Council President is Mar. Congratulations, Council President Mar. And we are going to move on now for the nominations for standing committees for the year of
Thank you,
2022. Sorry, go ahead, Councilwoman Mar.
I
Congrats.
just want to thank you so much. I've worked very hard over the past 2 years for our town, and I was hoping for this opportunity. So I do have some recommendations for committee positions.
Go ahead.
Is that usually, is the recommendations through the council president?
Are you asking me, Mayor?
Yes, I have recommendations as well.
Yeah, no, under your rules, I'm looking here. Under your rules of order of council, it says all committees shall be named by the majority vote of the council. So you can give the recommendations, and Michelle Mar, you can give recommendations, but all committees shall be named by majority vote of the council.
Okay, so are we going to start then with the same way in which we did prior to? Does the mayor state their recommendations and then Councilwoman Mar states her recommendations and then we vote?
Yeah, the council would
No.
vote. Go ahead.
I believe this is decided by the mayor.
It is correct. The council, it's council committee. So the mayor can supply recommendations, but it's up to the council under your rules under Rule 21, under the rules of order of council, that the council then would select them.
Right, so I'm going to put my recommendations forward and then the council can vote whether accept or deny.
Well, Mike, we'd probably have to make the same recommendation so that we vote on that, right? Isn't that the way it would go?
Correct. What can happen is the mayor can give her recommendation and the council can either accept or reject them and then vote accordingly. So the mayor can give her recommendations, but it's up to the council under your rules of governance that who would be nominated for the standing committees.
Okay, so I'll move forward with my recommendations and then we'll move for a vote and the council can either accept or deny. So under administration and finance, my recommendations would be Councilman Conti, Councilwoman Roberts, and Councilwoman Novak. Under planning and zoning, my recommendation would be Councilwoman Roberts, Councilwoman Mar, and Councilman Anoa. Sorry, I want to make sure I get them right. Anoa.
Yes, ma'am.
Under public safety, my recommendation would be Councilwoman Novak, Councilman Conti, and Councilwoman Juneford. Under public works, my recommendation will be Councilwoman Mar, Councilman Anoa, and Councilman Conti. Under recreation, my recommendation would be Councilman Anoa, Councilwoman Juneford, and Councilwoman Mar. And under water and sewer, my recommendation would be Councilwoman Juneford, Councilwoman Novak, and Councilwoman Roberts.
So now we need a motion to,
I would need a motion to accept the mayor's recommendation and in a second.
I motion it.
I move that we accept the mayor's nomination.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Roll call, please.
Just so you understand, people do not have to accept the nomination. These were nominations. You don't have to accept it.
okay,
You
roll call.
don't-
Can I ask a question? Do we have, because, I don't feel good about saying yes or no. I'd like to hear from the new council president to see what her thoughts are as well, just like we did. We heard both nominations for president. We had a chance to vote. I don't know what the other recommendations are. I'd be interested in hearing that before we actually vote.
There
Is
was
that
a,
not possible?
listen, there was a motion in a second. You'd have to ask the attorney from process how that works. You can vote to support this or not, but our attorney, can you give more insight as to what Mr. Conti has requested?
Yeah, you can vote not to accept the recommendation, and then you would then allow the council president to give her recommendations or her list. They might even be the same. If they're not, and you wish to hear them, then you would simply vote no, and then you would begin the process again. But they are a majority of vote of the council. So these recommendations, if you don't agree with, you vote no. If you agree with them, you vote yes. It's only the council that votes on this.
Now, the only concern I have,
me.
isn't it a conflict of interest for Councilwoman Novak to be on public safety?
I refuse
Mr.
the nomination.
Dupont, is that a conflict?
Well, I'm sorry, what?
Public safety. I refuse the nomination for public safety. You cannot force me to do something I feel I have a conflict for. I refuse the nomination.
Well, if you refuse the nomination, then you would vote no to all of the recommendations that are being put forth.
Do I not have conflict? Can anybody vote me into this position, Mike? I think the other council people should be aware that I cannot hold this position. So if they vote for it, they're voting for something that cannot happen.
Mike, I had contacted Mr. Dupont specifically about that nomination. Mr. Dupont, what was your legal opinion?
So the issue here, what we have here is we have a council person not willing to serve on the committee that she is being sought for. So the issue is not whether there's a conflict. At this point in time, she is saying she will not serve on that for the betterment of the Sayreville residents. So the issue then is, it comes down to, if that's be the case, then there's going to be a no vote on the recommendation. Now, the other thing what the council could do is simply vote down these recommendations and then listen to the council president. They are your appointments. All committees shall be named by majority vote of the council. So if there is some agreement, then what my recommendation is, and maybe they're same, I don't know, then vote down the recommendation and listen to the council president to see if in fact she has anything different. If not,
hold on for a minute, Mike. Can we deal with what we have right here first? Okay, just for a second.
Right.
First
so
question, let me just ask the first question. So
okay.
I understand Councilwoman Novak has stated that she will refuse the position of public safety because she feels that is a conflict. And I understand that she is stating that she will refuse that position. I just want first for the record, Mr. Dupont, when I questioned you if her appointment as liaison to public safety would be considered a conflict, what was your legal opinion?
She has served in the past on that. She now believes, based on additional information and facts, that she believes it's a conflict. So
I understand that. Mike, I asked you before I gave this list.
Right. You called me a few minutes ago asking if it was a conflict for Mary to serve on the public safety committee. I said I would not recommend that you place her on that committee. You then asked me, would it be a conflict? I said it would be a conflict if any of the actions that she would take as a public service or as a public safety committee member would affect any of her family or relatives. It would be a conflict if it would not, or if any of those actions would affect her family members and or relatives. Now, serving on the committee and not deciding anything, and she would abstain everything. I'm not quite sure if that serves the committee, but you could always place her in there, and then she would just recuse herself on every one of the decisions that the Public Safety Committee acts.
Right, which would have to come to the council. The reason why I asked that question of you, Mike, was because if you had told me that it was a conflict for her to be on that liaison position,
right,
I would have placed Eunice on that liaison position.
Well, that's why I said I would not recommend that you place Mary on it, because
I understand you said you wouldn't recommend it. I was asking you what your legal opinion was. So
so that's why I said.
So it sounds to me like you're now telling me that it is a conflict, which is not
what I'm saying. What I'm saying to you is placing on the public committee is simply not a conflict, because she's not taking any action. Any action that she takes, that would serve or help or assist or appear to help any family member or relative, then she couldn't act. That would be a conflict. And then you specifically said, well, they'd have to come before the mayor and council.
Right.
So then I said, well, listen, placing her on is not a conflict, but she wouldn't be able to act if there's any appearance of a conflict. So that's why I said I would not recommend that Mary be placed on the public safety.
So I will amend that position under this new advice, in the way in which it's phrased this time, that in place of Mary Novak on public safety, I would then place Eunice June 4th as the liaison to public safety, and Councilwoman Novak would remain as the liaison to environmental, water, sewer, and environmental.
But you need a third person, because you have Eunice.
So we will, and I would adjust that as being.
So, Vic, if I could, maybe the best is to withdraw the motion and then go through so that the record reflects exactly where we're amending.
You know what? It's okay. As you stated before, it's technically not a conflict. She would just have to abstain, as she does in any other public forum when we have to vote. I'll leave my recommendations as is, and the council can vote them down if they so choose. That's fine. I'll leave it as it is. You stated that I understand what you're saying. If the liaison positions cannot vote in any official capacity on any type of policy, procedure, or anything else without first coming to the council. So at that point, Mary would just abstain anyway. So I'll leave the motion nomination. I will leave the recommendations as is, based on what was seconded and motioned by the council people. And you can let us know, Mike, how to proceed with this.
Well, what I'm recommending is that with the conversation I just had, plus Mary's refusal to serve on public safety, that I probably would ask the council to not accept these recommendations. Then you can resubmit what you just said, because I was trying to write them down in my notes here with the changes, but I couldn't write them down quick enough. So my recommendation is on the committees, to vote this motion down, and then you can, or you with the council president can go through the change that you just did, because I couldn't write it down quick enough on my paper.
Mike, she wasn't making it. She wanted to stay with the ones that.
Yeah.
No, I know, but she gave an alternative. And
yeah, but she doesn't. She wants to go with her original appointment.
Okay, that's fine. So then
I'll go with the original appointment, because we do know that Councilwoman Novak in that capacity would then in fact just recuse herself from any vote coming to the council, because as a liaison to those committees, you don't make any official decisions anyway, and we're not legally allowed to interfere with borough business. Councilwoman Novak gives many comments at the council level in reference to committee decisions regarding public works. Regarding public safety. She is one of the most well-versed individuals up here when it comes to public safety matters because of her family and her experience and her knowledge. And I'm quite certain that if there was anything, then when she was serving in that liaison position, she would know whether or not she can vote on it or not. That's fine.
Nope.
So you can, I'm fine with the council voting this down if they so choose. Christian, yes, question.
Yes, thank you. Quick question. I think I overheard that, and forgive me here, but Councilwoman Novak, she previously served in this committee in the past?
No, apparently she did not.
Oh, she did. I'm sorry. I thought I heard that before. Okay.
And so my recommendation is, with the comments I just made, is that this motion be withdrawn. And I know the mayor had given an alternative, and maybe we can listen to that alternative, or the council president has a suggestion.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So my recommendation is to let the council, although these are just recommendations, to vote this down, and then listen to the other alternative that the mayor has provided or the council president has provided.
I mean, I have an alternative.
But wait, Vicky, let's just vote this motion down and then give the alternative.
Okay.
And can we get those recommendations again, or we have to vote immediately?
No, let's vote this recommendation down and then listen to the alternatives that the council president or the mayor have.
Councilpersons Roberts.
Yes.
Conti.
I'm a no then.
June 4.
I accept. I'm a yes.
Mar.
No.
Novak.
No.
Anoa.
Yes. Yeah.
It's 3-3, so there's no
Right,
majority.
Right.
So
So now,
in that
Go ahead.
circumstance, does the mayor turn around and break that?
no, it's a majority of vote of the council. Under your rules, under the rules of order of the council of the borough of Sayreville, it's a majority vote of the council.
So as the mayor, I don't serve as council when there's a tie.
No, you do not break this tie.
Okay, I'll give the alternative, and maybe we'll have a chance here at, this could go on for days, but I'll put the alternative in, which is very simple. I'll just restate them all, and I'll do it slowly.
Excuse me.
Wait,
Excuse me. We already heard one of the mayor's suggestions. Why don't we hear Councilwoman Moore's suggestion now? And then if that doesn't pass, we'll go back to a second suggestion of the mayor.
you can do that. And maybe if council president has the same as the mayor.
I'd rather put my my alternative here on the table, so that way we can just move forward with it. Thank you for that suggestion, Mary.
This is a council decision. I make a motion that we listen to somebody else's nominations first.
Do I have control over the council meeting at all? I just want to put since Mary, you were the one that refused my recommendation, at least give me the opportunity to put my other suggestion on.
This is a council decision. Let's listen to somebody from the council, Mayor.
Sure, no problem. But Mike, can I just put my recommendation on the table?
Well, you can, but what I would suggest is if the council president has recommendations, that are, what I would suggest, it is a majority vote of the council.
Okay,
That what I would recommend is the council president give recommendations at this point in time. They may be the same. I don't know. I haven't heard the council president speak up yet.
No, I think we have the same idea, Mayor. I also have everyone in new positions. If I could just give you my suggestions for administrative and finance. Councilwoman Novak, Councilwoman Marr, Councilman Conti. For planning and zoning, Councilman Anoha, Councilman Conti, Councilwoman Roberts. For public safety, Councilwoman Dunfor. I'm sorry, did I pronounce that correctly?
June 4.
June 4.
June 4. Thank you. I'm sorry about that.
No
Get
problem.
mayor
It's
all the
okay.
time. We know how it feels. So you were number 1. Number 2 was Councilman Onoha and Councilwoman Marr. Public Works is Councilman Conti, Councilwoman Roberts, Councilwoman Novak. For recreation, Councilwoman Marr, Councilwoman Dunfor, Councilman Onoha, and water and sewer, Councilwoman Roberts, Councilwoman Novak, and Councilwoman Dunfor.
so now that we heard President Marr's statements, we might as well compare, and I'll just say mine are different than what she has, and that way you guys know what you're voting on. You can, so there's no motion. You might as well, then somebody can motion for which one they want.
Well,
to
I'm sorry.
Um,
Is there is the council, so did the council president make a motion? And I couldn't hear, was there a second or was there not a second?
there was no motion, there was no second.
Motion to approve my council.
Mike, what are you doing, Mike?
I'm just trying, I couldn't hear you, Vicky, I couldn't hear you. There was rumbling in the background.
Okay, then I'll repeat then. So now that Councilwoman Marr put her recommendations on the table, they are different than my recommendations. So prior to a motion, why don't you just hear the adjustment that was made to my previous committee list, and then there can be a motion to accept either Council President Marr's recommendations or the mayor's recommendation.
Councilwoman Marr said she made a motion and I seconded it. So there is a motion and a second on the floor.
Mike, I'm asking your opinion. You didn't hear it, so I'm just asking your opinion.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Vicky. I couldn't hear you. Go ahead.
So what is your opinion as far as you're saying you didn't hear a motion or a second?
No, I asked, was there a motion made after the council president made her recommendation? No. Was there a motion made and seconded?
I did not hear that until I did not hear that after she spoke.
All right, so the question is there, did anyone, I don't know, the borough clerk, did you hear a motion or a second? If not, then you can, Vic, you can go ahead and give your recommendation.
I'm hearing Councilwoman Novak second something, so I'm confused. If we need a motion, I would make a motion. I hear a second. So is there a motion that we're seconding, or can we ask Councilwoman Marr for clarification?
Councilwoman Marr said.
Hello.
You can't hear.
Councilwoman Marr, can you turn up your audio because it's hard to hear you, please?
It's on, Max. I did make the motion.
And I did second it.
Hey, go ahead and vote. I do have suggestions as far as the slight change where Mary would not be serving in public safety as she refused because she felt that it's a conflict from what my original was, and it would include moving Eunice to public safety and one other change. So, but you guys can turn around and vote as a council if you want to accept Council President Marr's recommendations. I don't get to put mine on the table, I guess, unless you guys vote, unless it comes to a tie, unless there's not a majority vote of the council. So.
Councilpersons Mar,
Yes.
Conti,
So I like the way Michelle is thinking and the way she arranged things. So I'm going to say yes to this.
June 4,
No.
Novak,
Yes.
Anoa,
No, no.
Roberts,
So this is a vote to go along with Council President Marr's suggestions versus the mayor's current suggestion.
yes.
Well, they didn't let me put my initial motion failed. The initial recommendation failed. They didn't let me put my amended one up yet. Although I will tell you, Donna, my amended one just switches out Mary from public safety and replaces it with Eunice. And Christian would also join public safety, and Eunice would also join planning and zoning as the third. Everything else would stay the same in my previous plan. But they didn't let me officially put that forward until this vote either succeeds or fails.
All right, there's so many moving pieces. I'm just taking a look at what moved. So, I'm going to be honest. I didn't even hear half of what Vicky said. I just objected to it because I have a conflict. So I don't even know where you're putting me at this point. What Vicky's suggestion is moving me.
Oh, so that's, wow.
I don't know.
All right, but wait,
You voted on something without even knowing what it was. Okay.
No, I voted against it, Vicky, because you were trying to put me in a conflict. That's why I voted against it. I have
Jessica, we still have to have the vote.
Yes, I'm waiting for Councilwoman Roberts' answer.
The only change to mine, Donna, that was removing Mary from Public Works and replacing her with Eunice.
Public safety.
And I'm sorry, from Public Safety. Mary would be removed from Public Safety, and Eunice would take her place on Public Safety.
Eunice is on Public Safety.
And then Eunice would go as 3 from Public Safety to Planning and Zoning, and Christian would take the number 3 spot. Those would have been the only 2 changes on mine. Everything else would remain the same as I had stated before.
Where are you putting me?
Well, Mary,
but if we could, let's just.
Can we actually finish this one vote at least?
Yeah,
I don't know if we're comparing. Can I? Let me just say something. I asked before if we were able to hear multiple layouts, and I was told no, we can't do that. Now what we're doing is we're in the middle of a vote where Council President Marr's suggestions are out there, and then the mayor is throwing out her modified thing. So now we're comparing them. I don't understand, and we're in the middle of a vote as well.
Right. We just need to vote on what's before the mayor and council right now. And so we're just waiting for Donna Roberts to vote yay or nay.
And then do we vote on the mayor's?
No. Let's just let, this is only on the committees.
So the only problem I have with this is I'm trying to look at the 2 selections, actually 2.5 selections, as a grid to make the best decision. This is a lot of moving parts to absorb. We need to make this decision now at this agenda meeting to move forward to the council meeting? Or is this something that carries over if we don't make decisions finally today? How is this going to work?
Mike, the official action will be taken at the council meeting. I mean, you're going to vote out in the reorg meeting again. Mike, but I do believe they have to make their committee.
They have to make the committees
Today.
before the, right, today.
Mhm.
Be here all night. Right, because I'm looking at what is the significant differences between the original and the update by council president. And it's a lot of moving parts to make a final vote on.
I don't think, Michelle, you didn't have any changes on yours. You just read off yours as is, and I read mine off. My first one did not pass. It was tied and it was not allowed to be broken based under the form of government. I have a amendment to the one that I submitted, but I haven't been able to formally present it yet because we're in the middle of this vote.
So how do we?
Right now, you can't vote on my amended one until this vote is finished.
So Mike, who would?
So if you could give me a second to make sure I have the right list in front of me before I make any kind of statement. So
Councilwoman Roberts, you want me to read it off?
can you read it off slowly so I can make sure I know what I'm voting on?
Yes. So for admin and finance, we have Novak, Mar, Conti. Planning and
Okay.
zoning. Anoa, Conti, Roberts.
Okay.
Public safety, June 4, Anoa, Mar.
Is that all of them?
Public, you ready?
Public works. Public works.
Yep, Conti, Roberts, Novak. Recreation, Mar, June 4, Anoa. And then finally, water
Okay.
and sewer, Roberts, Novak, June 4.
I'm sorry, Robert, Novak, and
June 4.
Novak. So admin, there's two of the same. Planning and zoning, two of the same again, with a slight difference. Public safety, Conti. Public safety, Mary's still on public safety.
No, she's not.
No, Eunice is
No,
on
I
public
wasn't
safety.
allowed to I wasn't allowed to give my
Yeah.
alternate. If you want my alternate, Donna, I'll give it to you. But I haven't
Well,
submitted it.
Let's take care of this. And I think what Jessica just read off to me for public safety was Conti, Roberts, and Novak. No,
No. That's
No.
not what I read.
that's public works. That was public works.
That was public works.
Public works, okay.
Public safety was
So
June
public
4, Anoa, and Mar.
All right, Conti, public works, Conti, Roberts, and Novak. So there's some significant changes.
It's totally different than what I put out. Totally different.
Recreation just. Recreation has the same team, but in a different order. Water and sewer. Roberts, Novak.
Donna, feel free to ask me if you want to see if you want to know how mine changed slightly with Mary leaving the Public Safety Committee.
Yeah, let me just get my head around what is my list here that I try to keep up with. So the biggest change has to be public safety, which would take Councilwoman Novak off. She
Do you
is then moved.
do you have my
to
initial
administration.
list, Donna? Do you have my initial list?
I kind of scratched off a bunch of things and we had to talk about Councilwoman Novak moving, so I've got a couple of scrapes on here, but I do have what I think is your initial list.
I can tell it to you now with the slight change if you wish. Do you
Okay,
have
please
for
do.
administration and finance under what I proposed was Vince, Donna, Mary, that was admin and finance.
Yeah,
Planning and zoning was
we just,
Donna, Michelle, and in this phase, I would say Eunice. Public safety would be Eunice, Vince, and Christian. Public works would be Michelle, Christian, and Vince. Recreation would be Christian, Eunice, Michelle. And water and sewer would be Mary. Hold on, did I have an issue here? Would be Mary. I had Mary twice there. Mary, blank for number 2. Donna, you would be number 3. And hold on a second.
I think June 4th was
June
water.
4th. Yep.
So, but you still need,
Yep. And that would be Eunice. Yep.
right.
And that
So
would
you
be
still,
everybody.
you still need to vote on the motion presently pending. And then if there's another motion, you could vote on that with the changes you suggest.
Understood. So I just wanted to make sure Donna had the, she had been.
I still don't know where I am number 1. I'm number 3 on administration and finance.
No, on Mary, on the present.
No.
On the present motion, go through it one more time, Jess, about what Michelle Marr, Council President, suggested.
So admin and finance is Novak, Marr, Conti. Planning and zoning is Anoa, Conti, Roberts. Public safety, June 4, Anoa, Marr. Public works, Conti, Roberts, Novak. Recreation, Marr, June 4, Anoa. Water and sewer, Roberts, Novak, June 4. That's the present one.
I see that.
If there was this much confusion, would it make sense to go back and ensure that the votes that we have were really for what we thought it was? Or is that ship sailed?
I think you just have to vote at this point.
You have to, at this point in time, there's a motion on the floor that was seconded with respect to the Council President's motion. So you need to vote with respect to this present motion.
Yeah, Donna, I will say I was tracking it. Personally, I've been writing it all down, trying to keep track of it. So I got it down.
I know what I voted for.
That's
In your proposal,
1, 2,
you have
maybe I do now. I'll change it. I mean, it's not gonna go anywhere anyway. They're gonna just vote to. It's not gonna matter now. But you are right, it would have to be adjusted.
That has to be, someone's has two, they're gonna find those two.
Donna, are you talking? Because I don't hear you.
Yeah, I was on mute. If I vote no for this appointment schedule, what would be the next step? If I vote yes, that means we move forward with this appointment schedule. If I vote no, what is the next step?
Another motion would have to be made.
For the mayor's
By
amendment.
anyone on the council?
Anyone on
Yeah,
the
it could be by
council.
anybody.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right. Where was that change? Let's see. Did you find out, Dan,
I'm
where?
just trying to think, it's not.
I didn't write it down yet, so.
Hold on.
Let's see.
Mary. It's Mary.
Of course. Where does it go?
You did put Mary in, wherever you.
That's what I said. It didn't put me anywhere.
No, you've been put,
You had to put Mary in, either planning and zoning or in.
Mike, I know it's like 7:01. We're okay though, right?
Yeah, what I would recommend
put her in.
is take the vote to Donna to vote. And then what we can do is we don't have much on the mayor can go through her appointments, if any. And then we can open up for public portion and then go to our council meeting that starts at 7 o'clock.
Well, that started at 7:02.
I know, that's why I asked.
So what's the will of the council on that? What are we going to do then? We're going to hold
Well,
on this?
well, no, Donna needs to vote yay or nay. And then we can move on and make the finalization in our 7 o'clock meeting.
Okay. So we're waiting for Donna.
Right.
Okay.
Is Donna still on the line?
Yeah, she is.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I keep putting myself on mute while I think things through. At this point, I think the best thing to do, since there are a lot of overlaps, I'm going to split the baby. I'm sorry, I'm going to vote yes.
Right.
Okay. All righty. Next. Understanding committees is done. Next, the appointments for professionals. Let's see. Mike, as we discussed a few minutes ago.
Yep.
Under my authority as mayor, I'm directing the business administrator to put out for requests for proposals for 15 days.
Yeah, for non-fair and open.
For RFPs for all professionals.
Right, for non-fair and open, in accordance with, I think it was ordinance 2-4.
Right, this.
Is there does there have to be a packet prepared?
And what I will state is that this is anybody that has already put in for those professional positions would not have to resubmit. They would be considered, and any others would have to go through the regular procedure for processing of RFP.
And 15 days
Mr.
from the advertisement,
15 days.
from
Yes,
the day that it's advertised.
exactly.
Mr. Dupont, this does not require a council resolution?
No, under the mayor is asking for non-fair and open petitions to come in, which is different than what was prescribed in, I guess, when you guys went out in November. So what essentially is that the non-fair and open, which is being requested, the vendors or contractors, as they are, will be limited into what they're able to under the pay to play.
I realize, I forgot that, but does this not require council approval to go out on something like this?
Under the ordinance, the mayor can ask for this. The mayor has the right to do this, and that you then have the right to vote on the RFPs that have been submitted under the fair and open versus non-fair and open. So she is only directing the borough administrator to ask for RFPs under the non-fair and open method.
I've got that, but on a motion of the council, can we direct the business administrator not to do this?
The mayor, under this ordinance, is allowed to direct the business administrator to request non-fair and open RFPs.
So I understand what Mary is asking. Mary wants to turn around and make a motion to direct the business administrator not to go out for non-fair and open RFPs. Is that what your question is, Mary?
Yes, can the council make a motion not to do this, is what I'm asking.
I believe the mayor can direct it. I do not believe that the council can simply usurp the mayor's power in requesting that the business administrator do this.
Is that something that you would like to do, Mary, is to direct the business administrator to only entertain the RFPs that have currently come in?
I have a problem, and I don't think the public will understand why we did open and fair RFPs before, but now you want to do unfair RFPs.
Right, but you would prefer the RFP process the way it was always done.
I would prefer the RFP process to be fair and open.
Okay, that's the way that you want it. Does anybody else on the council feel the same way?
Yes.
Oh, that was Vince Conti? Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Councilwoman Marr?
My thoughts on the matter were that this is the first year that it's happened. So I'm not concerned since it hasn't happened before. But if it does continue to happen, then yes, I do have a concern.
So you would prefer to stay with the process that's already been done under the what's deemed the fair and open process?
Yes, I think that we set a deadline and that it would be unfair to open that deadline.
Okay, so for the public, thank you for that. I wanted to clarify who was in favor of the previous process. Just for the record, the reason why you would go out in the manner in which I directed the business administrator to do is because anybody that is appointed using the process I'm directing the business administrator to go out for RFP, My process restricts a professional from being able to contribute to political parties. Using the process that we currently have enables the professionals that are hired to contribute to the political parties of their choosing. Now, maybe the public understands why I had an issue with the way the professional list came in and why I was concerned that several of the professional positions were only put in by one individual. This process, in which I directed the business administrator to do, I believe is actually a more fair manner in which to do business, because it would restrict the professional hired from being able to contribute to political parties. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Because now maybe the public will understand and get it. It's concerning. So at this point, I think we would be better off not appointing anybody from this current list and going through with an appointment and a vote on those that do not follow basically a legal pay-to-play policy. Moving forward. Let me just double check here. Huh?
For PACO, you have to appoint, you have to, the state, that's usually.
For PACO, for the public agency compliance, who was that on that list? Dan Frankel, yes. For the, what was that again?
Public agency
The
compliance.
public agency compliance officer, I am appointing Mr. Dan Frankel for that 1-year term. That needs to be a vote.
Yes, I need a motion to accept that.
Can I have a motion to accept that? That's by law.
Make a motion to accept.
Is there a second?
Yes.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Conti,
Yes.
and 4.
Yes.
R.
Yes.
Novak,
Yes.
Noah,
Yes, yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Okay, so there was a little bit of silence after that conversation and after that note and explanation regarding the professional RFPs. I'm assuming that that means that nobody has any further comments, so we'll move forward then. Yes?
Wait, overall, right? Hopefully I'm sure, right? I think the main idea was to extend for 15 days.
Yes.
Right? And then those who initially missed the deadline, they have a chance to apply, and then those who applied on time, are they affected in any way? I think that's what I want to make sure I'm clear on, right?
No, they wouldn't be affected in any way. They would be considered just as they always would be.
Okay, so
we would still be
another
able
question
to.
I have, if possible, and I know we're probably out of time here, but let's say there was a firm that, you know, what I want to confirm is the companies, or I guess the firms that have been in these roles, or individuals in these roles consistently. That's really my question. Are these one-time applications, mayor or anyone on the council, do we know if they've continuously been in these roles, or are any of these positions that only have one application a new applicant, or these positions that only have one firm or individual applying? Do we know if these are individuals that have historically always been, you know, with those contracts? That's something I'm just very, very, very curious about.
Great question, Christian. I'll defer over to our business administrator just because I don't have as much memory as far as whether the ones that did put in, almost every one of them that has applied so far, ones that have been within the borough for a number of years.
Correct.
There was at least, I think, one attorney that has put in for multiple positions that has not served in a borough capacity here in Saraville
In a few years.
in a couple of years.
Correct.
Very, very few, though, are those that haven't already served in some capacity in Saraville. But there are some that have not been or were here at one time and then came back. And there's definitely one that's put in, I think, for every single position almost. That was not a part of our professional lists for quite a while in most capacities, right?
Correct.
So I don't know if that helps out or not, but Christian, those questions is also one of the reasons why I wanted to have both you and Eunice have a little bit more of a understanding and kind of get into this a little bit more. That was one of my big reasons for also wanting to extend that, give you the opportunity to research, look into, and be comfortable with the professionals.
Right. Sorry, I think someone said something.
Yeah, I think so. Michelle, you're a little low on my screen volume-wise. Go ahead.
Yes, so I understand that you're allowing them to ask questions, but I'm interested to know their stance on the matter as well.
Well, I'm grateful. I think that, you know, there is a compelling point that the council president made earlier that, you know, if someone applied and they met the deadline, you know, to add more competition to that, you know, from that perspective would be unfair, you know, if more applicants are coming in after the deadline. I think that is definitely, you know, very much worth considering. And in terms of the topic of being fair, you know, if there was a deadline put in place and folks didn't apply on time, you know, why make it more competitive? So, you know, I think the fairness is really more in reference to the professionals. So I think that should be really acknowledged. But at the same time, I don't know if that's the main priority, which is only fairness to the professionals, but rather fairness to the residents as well. And I think that, you know, I think the mayor made a compelling argument that, you know, I think that we should be looking for quality, you know, and I think that competition does increase quality. If there are multiple, if we give a 15-day extension and that will put us in the position to have more quality, you know, I think that should also be considered. So, and I think it's worth it. I do. If it means that, again, those who are in, you know, with these contracts historically, and if I understand this correctly, these are folks who have historically had these opportunities, historically had these positions. And if we're saying that 15-day extension can potentially increase the quality of our residents, I think that should be the priority over fairness to those who have had these contracts historically. You know, that's kind of what I'm weighing here. Yeah, and it almost, you know, so is it fairness to the residents now or fairness to those who applied on time, but they've actually had these contracts historically, you know, and I think that's what I'm looking at right now. And I don't think 15 days. Now, again, the council president said that, you know, this is the first time, but she'll be concerned if this happens often, right? So now I think that there should be, you know, an action plan to make sure that you know, we can create a good, I don't know if it's a campaign now or some type of outlet or using multiple outlets or more diverse outlets where, you know, because now that's kind of another question, right? Like, this extension is granted, is it going to be sent to the same outlets that maybe, you know, professionals of a diverse background still won't even see it? So I think there's just a lot to weigh on this. But overall, in general, I think my stance is, you know, if it will increase the quality for the residents in terms of who will be providing services to them, I think it's worth considering for sure.
And I think that's a great point, Christian. I think that that's what us on the other side of the aisle are of why we're saying no, is because it's setting past practice. So if we don't like who applies, then that allows us to open the door in the future, which I don't think is fair. So I do like the idea of a plan moving forward.
Okay, as in, like, for now we keep it as is, but moving forward, we make the pool the application timeline longer. Is that what you're saying? I just want to make sure I'm clear.
Whatever the mayor chooses to do this time, but I think moving forward, we need to have something written in stone so that something like this doesn't happen again.
Okay, understood. I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
All right. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Christian.
So does that like require a motion or something? Or I'm sorry, I'm new to this here. But...
Nope, the directive was already given to the business administrator.
Okay, understood. Well, thank you for clearing this up. I'm grateful.
Thank you very much. Okay, at this point, ladies and gentlemen, we'll continue with our agenda. And that brings us to, let's see, our appointments to, what do you want to move?
I think we should ask Mike if we, because the official action will be taken at the next meeting, being it's.
Yes, at this point, we are past our initial meeting, which was our 6 o'clock meeting. And our regular meeting was to have started at 7:20. We have a little bit of 7 o'clock, it's already 7:20. So at this point, I believe, Mike, is it okay for us to turn around and move into our next meeting? But we do have to open to the public at this point. You on, Mike?
Yeah, I am. Sorry about that. We're getting a little stormy down here.
That's okay. What we can turn around, what we're basically asking to do is, obviously, there's not going to be appointments made. I made my directive to Dan. Can we move forward after opening to the public at this point with our next meeting? And any additional appointments that are to be made, we'll be voting on during that main session?
Sure, you can open up the public for public portion. If not, there's no need for executive session and you could do a motion to adjourn.
Okay, so what we'll do is, we do have a resolution for consideration though.
Yes.
Okay, can we do that in the,
resolutions are going to be 1 through 13. Also, I'm taking out the ones appointing the professionals. We're going to leave in public agency compliance officer will be number 14. And then we'll have a resolution to be read in full regarding that reso that was wanted.
Okay.
That I will read in full at the next meeting.
At the next meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
So those are the resolutions that I will have for the reorganization meeting.
Okay, sounds great, wonderful. So at this point, then we can open to the public for any and all questions. If you are in the public and you wish to make comments, this is your opportunity. Please raise your hand by pressing *9, and we'll pull you into the main session here. Let me see. I do not see anybody. So at this point, what I will do is I will entertain a motion to close the public portion.
So moved.
Make a motion. Second.
All in favor, or do we need a roll call for that? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
Motion
then
to adjourn.
Thank you. Is there a
Second.
second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now we're going to move forward with our 7 o'clock meeting at 7:22. Please rise once again for a salute to our flag, and then we'll move with my prayer is not out here, it's over there. So I'm going to do a salute to the flag first. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ladies and gentlemen, we're just waiting for our opening prayer to return to this new state. I've almost memorized it. Almighty God, grant us the wisdom to make those decisions that are in the best interest of all of our residents. May the Heavenly Father of us all bless those who have given the ultimate sacrifice and service to our nation, and may He watch over and protect our servicemen and women now guarding the gates of freedom. At this time, I will ask for, do we need another roll call?
We will eventually.
Okay.
Please be advised that I have received the statements from the Middlesex County Clerk certifying the election of Councilwoman Eunice June 4 for a 3-year term and Councilman Christian Noah for a 3-year term. I need a motion to have the statements received and filed.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Novak,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
June 4,
Yes.
R,
Yes.
Noah,
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we'll once again perform the oaths of office. Councilwoman June 4th and Councilman Anoa.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Eunice K. June 4,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and to the governments established in the United States and in this state
and to the governments established in the United States and in this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform all the duties of councilwoman
and justly perform all the duties of a councilwoman
for a 3-year term expiring on December 31st, 2024,
for a 3-year term expiring December 31st, 2024,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God. Oh, thank you.
Congratulations yet again. And now, Councilman Anoa.
Raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Christian Anoa,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
that I will bear truth, faith, and allegiance to the state
and to the governments established in the United States and in this state
and the governments established of the United States and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform all the duties of councilman
and justly perform all the duties of councilman
for a 3-year term expiring on December 31st, 2024,
for a 3-year term expiring December 31st, 2024,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my abilities.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations,
Thank you. Thank you.
Councilman Anoa.
Thank you so much, man.
Congrats, guys.
And I think that's it with oaths. I think we've done about 4, 5, or 6 at this point. I think we're good.
It's been a couple.
Yeah. Statement of publication, please.
Take notice that this reorganization meeting of the Mayor and Borough Council being held on Monday, January 3rd, 2022 has been posted and advertised in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Conti.
Here.
4.
Here.
R.
Here.
Novak.
Here.
Anoa.
Here.
Roberts.
Here.
Business Administrator.
Present.
CFO. Denise, you there?
She's here, she's better. Just speak.
All right, I see her. Engineer,
Here.
attorney,
Here.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, this is our space for remarks from the mayor and council. I'll begin with the council for any of their remarks at the start of our reorganization meeting to begin this new year. I'll go to Council President Mark, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Congratulations to both our new people. I don't want to mispronounce names. I'm so bad with names, Christian and Councilwoman Doom 4. And I just want to recap on what a successful year we had last year, even though we had COVID. We had great success with our grant writer. We had great success upgrading Kennedy Park with a new playground and basketball court and bridges and benches. And, I'm excited for another year. I have my wish list that I will continue to follow up on each and every week with Mr. Frankel and our directors. So I look forward to working with everyone, and I wish everyone a happy and healthy new year. Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, I was still muted. The ladies here are taking care of what needs to be done for me. Anyone else from the council wish to speak? I will then go to, trying to see who's on my screen. Councilwoman Roberts?
Thank you, Mayor. It's been 2 years now that I've been on council, and this year is going to be kind of new for everyone. I do want to congratulate our new councilwoman, Eunice Janeford, and our councilman, Christian Anahu, who are now going to be a big influence on this council. I think that having a younger council, a diverse council, is very important, and I just think we have a lot to learn together, and we're going to make we're going to do right by Fairville, and I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm grateful.
Thank you. Councilman Novak.
Yes, I just like to wish all the members of the council, as well as all the residents of the town and borough workers, a happy new year. I want to say that congratulate our two new council people. I'm looking forward to working with you and hearing your ideas. I also would like to say a tremendous thanks to all of our employees and volunteers. The past few weeks has been extremely stressful. We've had so many of our employees and volunteers come down with COVID themselves, and they've been working so hard to make sure that all of our services are still handled adequately for our residents. And I really would like to thank them, because without those people, they make us look good. They work very hard. And I'm really looking forward to this coming year, and I'm not really looking forward to being the head of finance, because I know, like every other town, we have been experiencing a tremendous amount of financial problems. Hopefully, we will find an adequate way of spending the money that the federal government is giving us that will lessen the load of the tax problems on the residents of the town. And I promise to work very hard to make sure that we deliver the best budget possible under these circumstances for all of the residents in the town, because just like us, they're in financial problems too. Happy New Year, everybody.
And Councilman Conti, and then to our newest addition.
Thank you very much. I want to congratulate and welcome our two newest members, Councilwoman Duamfor and Councilman Anuha. Certainly looking forward to working with you guys and hearing the ideas that you might have. So looking forward to that. Want to wish everybody a happy and healthy new year. And thank everybody for their service, everybody who works within this borough and works to make our borough a great place. Really do appreciate that. It's been a tough 2021. We got back to normal with some things. We tried, at least. COVID just keeps keeping us down. And together, we'll get through it again and move on to better times. So thank you. Happy to be here tonight and looking forward to 2022. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we are going to begin with ladies first. Sorry, Councilman Anoa, you got a couple more minutes to wait. And I'm going to turn it over to Councilwoman Duamfor. I can't wait to hear from you. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. First and foremost, I'm eternally grateful to the Lord God Almighty to be a part of this council. And I wish each and every one of you all a happy and a glorious new year and a prosperous one at that. My prayer for each and every one of you is that you have peace in your individual lives, in your mind, and everything that pertains to you. And I believe that all of us will work together for the better of Sayreville. We live here after all, and our children are here, at least mine is here. And I believe that all the decisions that we'll all make together, irrespective of our colors, whatever differences, it will be to the best of our upcoming generations. God bless you all. God bless America.
Thank you for that very much, Eunice. We're looking forward to working with you. And now, without further ado, Councilman Anoa.
Thank you. For everyone online, to our council, to our borough officials, and to our additional participants, and those who may later on see this recording. I want to express my sincerest gratitude to you for the privilege and the opportunity, to be in this position to serve. I want to thank the Lord as well, for life, for breath, and again, the privilege and opportunity to serve. And I'm looking forward to working with everyone, to learning with everyone, and just seeing how we can grow and progress our borough and our state and our country.
Perfect. Thank you, Councilman Anoa. My remarks will be brief. First of all, Happy New Year to everybody. 2022 may not be starting off the way that we had all hoped, but I have faith that it is going to progress in a way that is going to be much different than what we've been through, because we're stronger, we're wiser, and we're a more caring group of individuals. I believe that in my heart, and I know that to be true. And Sayreville is one of the strongest towns, and we are there for one another. Also, as we move forward into a new year, I want this borough to know that everybody up here on the council is looking forward to creating and bringing to you new ideas, more progress, and a new philosophy on the dais. It is so exciting to be a part of a council now where we have young faces, new faces, and we also have the representation of what the history of Sayreville is as well. When you have this much diversity sitting together on a board making decisions, only good things can come out of it, because more and more of the people that live in this town now are being represented. Your voices are being heard. And although I wish things to go back to normal with our in-person meetings, I have to say, when I look at our virtual participants, it makes me smile, because our numbers virtually are always so much larger than what we have in person. So I do want to take the good and balance that with what we have struggled through to say we are getting more active, we are getting more people wanting to participate in what we do. And that right there is what truly Sayreville is about and what is going to make us thrive and be strong. Thank you all, as always, for the support that you give me. I'm very excited to work with this entire council. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be exciting. I think that there are going to be times where it's going to take us a long, long time to discuss and figure things out. But I think that's a good form of government, when our residents see us working and striving so hard to come to an agreement. So with that being said, let's move forward with the rest of today's business, which I actually think is going to be fairly quick this evening. That would bring us to appointments, and in reference to our professionals, the borough attorney at the borough administrator was directed by myself to move forward with pursuing RFPs for 15 days in order to solicit more individuals to put in for professional positions here within the borough. So that was taken care of at our last meeting, which everybody, I believe, was there and heard. So there will be no appointments made to those positions yet. Let's move forward then with some of our committees and our boards. What else did you need me to do? Paco. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you got to appoint the borough administrator, Mayor.
The borough administrator, I do have an appointment here for the public agency compliance officer for 1 year. That is our most beloved business administrator, Mr. Dan Frankel, who's always so excited to take on this role. Is there a second? Is there a motion?
Make a motion
So
to
moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Novak,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
four,
Yes.
Mar,
Yes.
Anoha,
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
At this point, we're going to move forward with council president nominations for the year of 2022. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to nominate Michelle Marr as council president.
I
There is-
second.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Novak,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
June 4,
No.
Mar,
Yes.
Anoha,
I'm sorry, if it's possible for us to repeat this?
you're voting on the nomination for Council President Mar.
Okay, no.
Roberts,
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we're going to move through to the official designation of standing committees for the year 2022. I will ask that our borough clerk, Jessica, read those standing committees.
okay, Administrative and Finance, Novak, Mar, Conti, Planning and Zoning, Anoha, Conti, Roberts, Public Safety, June 4, Anoha, Mar, Public Works, Conti, Roberts, Novak, Recreation, Mar, June 4, Anoha, Water and Sewer, Roberts, Novak, June 4.
Is there a motion to accept the committees as listed by borough clerk?
A motion to accept the committees as mentioned.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Mar,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
June 4,
No.
Novak,
Yes.
Anoha,
No.
Roberts,
Yeah.
Okay, moving forward with the agenda. Appointments to various boards and commissions.
I just want to you want to make all yours and then do one motion, or you want to do board by board?
We can do it board by board. I'm going to start with the Board of Health.
Health?
Mhm.
Okay. Give me 1 second.
And I'm going to make the appointments for those that we have received all of these papers in order for. There might be a few boards or commissions that I skipped for right now, as I know that there have just recently been some new submittals, and I want to make sure that there's space on those boards for some of the new people that came in. So beginning with the Board of Health, and we'll just go by committee, and you can vote to approve after each committee. So I would like to appoint Board of Health member, let's see, 3-year member Joe Natarangelo, 3-year member Michael Horvath, 3-year member Val Tar, and for the 3-year member vacancy, Ms. Karen Bieber. That's it.
All right.
Do I need a motion?
If you want to do it by board by board,
Yeah, we might as well, just in case there's any issue.
and council liaison is going to go to June 4.
And council liaison for the Board of Health will go to Councilwoman June 4. So at this point, I will entertain a motion to accept the appointments. You can say so
Motion
moved.
to accept the appointment.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Roberts,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
June 4,
Yes.
Mar,
I said yes.
okay. Novak,
Yes.
Anoha,
Yes.
okay.
Okay, Environmental Commission, I have one applicant, Ernest Reed, for a 3-year membership.
Mayor, this list doesn't look up to date to me. The current commissioner's name is not listed.
He
Are you
might not
talking
be
about
up
the
for,
current liaison?
Commissioner.
no. There's people on these boards that their term is not up. So they may,
Right.
just because their name is, that means that their term isn't up yet.
Correct.
I think Michelle is glitching a little bit. Michelle, did you understand that? The reason why some of the names aren't there is because their terms aren't up. So the terms that the individual whose terms are up are the ones that are listed. So yes, there are definitely on some of these boards and commissions, other people.
Oh, okay. Thank you for
Okay.
clarifying. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that used to confuse me as well. Because I would know there was other people on there. I'm like, where did they go? But that's why. So, so do I have a motion to accept Ernest Reed to the Environmental Commission as a 3-year member?
We do have a couple of vacancies on the Environmental Commission, and there's a name, Alexandria Harris. Were you going to appoint her too, Mayor?
I actually have a lot of applications before me, a lot. So what I was going to do was appoint those that we have already received our paperwork on, that have already been checked out and vetted by our clerk. And then those additional appointments,
She's on here.
I would be able to go through.
She's
She's on
on.
here to do it.
Well, no, this name has checked out.
Oh, you know what? I
It's
might
on
be
my-
working off of an older list. Where's my newer one? Let me
Yeah.
see my newer one.
Gave you a black and white.
Sorry, I do
Like
have my
I
newer one here.
There's like 3 current members that are officers that are not on this list.
Oh, yeah, I do see the new applicant as Alexandria Harris. So yes, I would also like to appoint her to the 3-year membership vacancy position. Mary, I just was working off of 2 different sheets here.
Yeah.
There's,
I remember.
yep, so Alexandria Harris, I'd also like to appoint her as well. Thank you, Mayor. Is there a motion?
Liaison.
Council liaison is going to be Robert.
And the council liaison will be Roberts. I'll renew the council liaisons after we make that vote and let them know. So council liaison position does change based on what's on there already. Is there a motion to accept?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, let's roll call.
Okay, councilpersons Novak,
Yes, ma'am.
Conti,
Yes.
June 4,
Yes.
Mar,
She said yes. She said yes.
Novak, sorry, Anoha,
Yes.
Yes.
Roberts.
Yeah.
Okay,
Wonderful. We're going to move forward with Human Relations Commission. So I have several members here listed. We're going to appoint to 3-year membership Neela Rodriguez. 3-year membership, Misha, I'm going to say this wrong. Is it Chitness? Bonnie Constant and Anthony Malara. I
I
know
move
that
the
this,
mayor's be approved on roll call vote.
is there a second?
Second.
Roll
Second.
call, please.
councilpersons Novak,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
June 4,
Yes.
Mar,
Yes.
Anoha,
Yes.
Roberts.
Yeah.
I do have a question with the Human Relations Commission. I know that this is a very important board to Councilwoman June 4th, and we do not have a liaison, council liaison listed for that. Does anybody on the council have an objection if we name Councilwoman June 4th as the council liaison to that board?
Human Relations Commission is under Recreation.
It is under Recreation for that liaison position. Who's our liaison for that?
Mar.
Mar?
It is. Yeah, I have been the one going to the meetings, but it is under recreation.
Right. I know that Councilwoman June, you're currently on the Human Relations Commission. I know you wish to stay in that capacity in some.
She's number 2 in rec.
Yeah, you're number 2 in rec, so maybe that is something that you and Councilwoman Mark can discuss. Because I know Mindy Schiffman would be so disappointed and angry if you did not continue in your roles there. You've been doing such a great job.
I'm not leaving.
I know. So Councilwoman Mark, she may have saved you at least one night of meetings. Very
Totally
good.
fine. Thank you.
Perfect. Commission on Aging. So it appears now this, I know, Mary, I'm going to defer over to you. If I remember correctly, there are sometimes some conversations that we have with Jen Krasinski regarding these appointments in order to make sure that all of these seats are filled appropriately.
Yes, because some of them, you're like go to different businesses in town. Like there's somebody from, so those seats have to be filled by those. And some people on here, I'm really surprised that their letters haven't come back as of yet. But we do have 3 vacancy positions. But I would like to check Jen to make sure exactly what those qualifications are, and then we can appoint some of the other ones here.
That sounds good.
I'd love the vacancies filled, but they got to be filled appropriately.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just wanted to confirm that I recalled that from last time. So I'll ask Jessica or Nicole if you would reach out to Jen over in the Office of Aging and just make sure that these appointments are done most appropriately.
Yes.
So we're going to hold on that on those appointments until we know for sure.
Office on Aging is under recreation also, but since I am available for meetings during the day for the past 10 years, I have been the council liaison, and unless somebody else wants it, it would be fine with me if I was reappointed.
There, Councilwoman Marr, that's you again. You're getting, they love you. They're making this easy for you. So yeah, Mary, you've served on this now for, oh God, for a very long time.
Nicely put.
Yes, let's move cultural arts. We do have 12 vacancies.
Mayor, if I may, back to the Human Relations Commission. So I know when I became a council member, I no longer was able to be a member of the Recreation Board. Is that that hold true for Councilwoman Doomfor as well? So she would no longer be a member of the Human Relations Commission as liaison.
I would have, I'd have to check with Mike on that. I think that the most important thing is that she be able to continue to contribute to those meetings in whatever capacity she can, whether that be as a liaison or whether that be as a member, because I can see it in her eyes. And I think she made it very clear she's not going anywhere from that board.
Yes, I think there's just a concern. There's just a concern about.
I'm not leaving. No way.
So there's just a concern about voting.
Yeah, I will check that on the ordinance as to whether she could fulfill both capacities.
Sounds great. Thanks. All right, let's continue on cultural arts. I just want to make it clear that we do have 12 vacancies there. So if you have individuals, members, or people in the public that are interested in serving on that particular board, there is a dozen spaces for you. Library Board of Trustees. So we have for a 5-year membership, Lauren Bear. 5-year membership, Sue Carol Paul. Mayor's designee, Karen Curnow. Did Dr. Labby send in his superintendent designee for Ms. Zabrinsky?
No.
Can you please reach out to him? I'm certain he will more than likely reappoint her as well. I did receive another application in reference to that.
Yeah, Paula Duffy came in.
Yes.
Yesterday.
Paula, I thought I had it under here. It starts, yes, it's Paula Duffy. So, and I do have the vacancy, a 5-year vacancy, so I would like to make that appointment as well. Is there a motion?
I move the mayor's appointments be approved on roll call vote.
Second, please.
Second,
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Novak,
yes, ma'am.
Conti,
Yes.
June 4,
Yes.
Mar,
Yes.
Manoha,
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes,
Okay, Shade Tree Commission, we have 5-year membership, Arthur Rittenhouse, and we also have 2 new applicants with several vacancies. So I'd like to appoint Jay, is it Solinski, and Christopher Canio. Those are
I
my 2.
move the mayor's approval.
Second.
It's hard with the delay. I never know when somebody's gonna say something.
Novak,
Yes,
Conti,
Yes.
June 4,
Yes.
Mar,
Yes.
Manoha,
Yes.
Roberts.
yes,
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going all the way down to the Municipal Sponsored Youth Programs Organization. Under new applicants, I see we have Beverly Johns, which would be taking a 3-year membership spot. Under which organization?
That's open space.
That's Open Space.
Oh, that's supposed to be on open.
Yeah,
space.
Beverly Johns is supposed to be under Open Space.
That's
So,
I
what
have it on open space.
okay,
That's
it was
the-
on this page. So so I don't see any appointments under Municipal Sponsored Youth Sports Organizations, but under Open Space, I have 2, 3-year borough citizen Joe Kupch, and then as a new applicant in the vacancy position for a 3-year borough citizens, Beverly Johns. Is there a motion? And Mary, you have always served under that also.
yes, I would like to be, these are actually council appointments, but if you make the motion, I'll, if you make the nomination, I'll make the motion, Mayor.
Oh, so, ladies and gentlemen, is there a motion to accept that and also keep Mary on as well?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second,
Second.
Roll call.
Councilpersons Conti,
Yes.
June 4,
Yes.
Mar,
Yes.
Novak,
yes,
Noha,
Did you say Novak? Was that
No,
me?
no,
Manoha,
Yes, yes. Sorry about that. Yes.
okay.
Roberts.
yes,
Now, the next ones, there's only a couple of names, so if you don't mind, I'm gonna clump those together rather than do them by committee to make your life a little easier, Jess. You're
Okay.
running out of boxes, I'm sure. Open Space Committee, we just completed, so we're gonna go down to Housing Authority of the BOS. We have Ken Oshesky, who put in for that as a 5-year member. And then I'm going to jump over to the Community Development Block Grant Committee. Is there another one?
Jeff.
Oh, I'm sorry, JIF, it didn't have an X, so I don't pay
That's
attention.
okay.
Under our JIF, our Joint Insurance Fund Commissioner, for 1-year employee Dan Frankel and 1-year alternate Denise Biancamano. Community Block Grant Administrator, do I need to do both of those as well? Gwen Knight and Denise Biancamano. And under the Community Development Block Grant Committee, application of Don Newton for that 3-year term. And we will conclude with this set. We're moving to the liaison to the Veterans Alliance. 1-year VFW Memorial Post number 4699, Ken Kelly. The 1-year VFW Memorial Post 4700, Stanley Drawl.
They're all post 4699.
Okay, they're all listed different.
I don't know why that's.
I will amend, I will not give post numbers. We'll go with VFW Post Stanley Przblowski. 1-year American Legion Post Joel Bloom. 1-year American Legion Post Frank Terrazino. And we had the council liaison as Damon last year as a veteran. So we'll do, we don't have anybody that serves in that capacity at this point. I don't think we've ever had a liaison prior to.
No, unless you want to keep it with, I don't know if it belongs with rec.
I think it did go under rec. Mary, was it always the liaison of Veterans Alliance under rec? I think so, right? I believe so. So we can keep it under recreation because
Okay,
most
Mark.
of the things that we do in conjunction
I don't think,
with.
I think last year was the first time we ever had a council liaison because
That's
we had
true.
a councilman that was a veteran.
Yeah, I think prior it was always, we lumped it under recreation, which would make sense because many of our events also fell under rec that we would want them to participate in and coordinate with. So we can continue to do that. Let's see, liaison to the Board of Ed, I don't see any additional. Equal Opportunity Housing Officer would be Dan Frankel for 1 year. He gets very excited with all of his appointments. Mayor's designee to the Middlesex County Solid Waste Advisory Council is Elise Barone for 1 year.
Wait, hold on, let me.
What are you missing?
Where he
Where's Elise?
Elise is the designee to the Middlesex County
Okay,
Solid
here, I
Waste.
don't see, okay.
And then I'm gonna move to the next one also, which is the Lower Raritan Watershed Area Committee. This is our 3-year position
Yeah,
with Dave Leitner.
yep,
And that would also fall for the Watershed Management Area 9 representative for 3 years, also Dave Leitner. Mayor's designee to the Middlesex County Transportation Committee Coordinator. The 1-year designee would be Tommy Ty, and the 1-year alternate would be John Ruck. Did they have to put in their paperwork for that?
They should.
They should. Can we please reach out to them before we make that official? Let's see, moving forward, going to hold on the rest for right now. Municipal Housing Alliance, Dan Frankel.
okay.
Okay,
So
so
we need a motion.
can I have a motion, please, to accept the mayor's appointment, and then we'll head over to the emergency management coordinator paperwork?
We didn't receive anything yet.
I
from
mean-
the
No,
chief.
we haven't.
Nothing from the chief? Okay, so we'll hold on that until we receive from the chief. Does that also go for the local emergency management committees on that last page as well?
Yeah.
That's everything.
Hey, Vic, you need a motion on your appointments.
Yes, we know. We were just checking to
Okay.
see if I had anything from the chief yet. So at this point, I'll entertain a motion for all of those appointments.
I make a motion that the mayor's appointments be approved on roll call vote.
Second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Novak,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
June 4,
Yes.
Mar,
Yes.
Anoha,
Yes.
Roberts.
Yeah.
And Mayor, if I may, I know that you extended 15 days for the RFPs, but I'd like to make a motion to keep our current professionals as holdovers until we make a decision on that.
Second.
I don't think you can do that.
Well, they're automatically, correct?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I'm not using that terminology.
That's
I'm-
correct. All the professionals are holdover, Mayor.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. So ladies and gentlemen, what do we have left on? our-
Question, Mayor.
I'm sorry, what?
May I ask a question? Did
Sure.
you make, I got ticked off for a little while before. Did you make appointments to the planning board? Because those are not held over if you don't make them.
I did not.
I don't think you did.
I did not.
Okay, but you have to because otherwise these people that you didn't reappoint can't vote on any, they're not automatically held over. Their term expired and they're not automatically held over on the planning board. Remember we had this problem once before?
Dan, Mike,
Yes. The term expires. We had this a couple, I
Years
guess,
ago.
meetings. And planning board and zoning board members need to be, or their planning board members need to be appointed. I don't know how many vacancies there are. I see you've got class 2, class 3, class 4, and an alternate. So the question is, are these terms expired? I don't know that answer.
we can look into that. I'm still considering those appointments and we can determine
No,
that.
but-
And if need
We
be, I'll
did-
call
we
a
did-
special meeting in order to do those appointments.
They can't vote it if we have a planning board meeting before then. These people that were not reappointed cannot vote.
I understand. I'm considering the appointments to those based on applications that are being received. And if need be, I can call, I'm assuming that I can call a special meeting if necessary, Mr. Dupont?
There is, yeah, you do have the ability to call a special meeting. I just don't know when the next planning board meeting is.
We'll
Jesse,
confer
you know-
and find out. Thank you. Let's see, bringing us to the next point in our January 3rd. I think that takes care of all those appointments, correct?
The appointments, yes, we're on the resolutions.
Okay, resolution. So we have a public hearing and approval and consent agenda resolutions at this point. So a motion to the public, to anybody that has any comments regarding any of our consent agenda resolutions. Now is your opportunity to speak, pressing star 9.
Just on resolution.
Just on the resolutions, just on resolutions though. Okay, ladies, can you see the participants?
There's nobody.
Yeah, so far, nobody has raised their hand.
Okay, thank you. I think I closed my window. All right, seeing none at this point, I'll entertain a motion to close the public portion and adopt the resolution.
I
Did
make a
Mary
motion
say-
to close the public,
Sorry.
approve the
Second.
resolutions and public.
Sorry, I didn't know you're still going. Second.
Roll call. I think we got that motion complete. It's glitching over here. So,
Okay, councilpersons Novak,
Yes,
Conti,
Yes.
June 4,
Yes.
Mar,
Yes.
Anoha,
Yes.
Roberts,
And this is not including the other resolution that's in our packet. This is just what's on the paper right now, right?
correct.
Yes,
Up until resolution number 14, which was for Paco. I will be reading a resolution in full next.
Okay. Just making sure what I think should not be on here is not on here. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, can I mention something? I'm just going through all my papers as we sit here and I'm looking at this orange piece that's staring me in the face. And I keep remembering what Councilwoman Novak is saying about the planning board. And is it true we have a meeting on Wednesday, this Wednesday?
yeah.
And what you guys were saying about not having designees and not being able to vote. I don't know if that's a concern that we've got a meeting on Wednesday. Just pointing that out as this paper stares me in the face.
I see it. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see.
I gotta do the resolution.
Time for the resolution to be read in full. Jess?
Resolution 2022-15. Whereas the Omicron variant of COVID-19 has a very high rate of transmission through populations, and whereas cases of confirmed Omicron-related COVID-19 infection are rising nationwide, in particular through New Jersey and Middlesex County, and whereas the Borough of Saraville seeks to take action to mitigate and combat the spread of COVID-19 and its variants, and whereas the Borough of Saraville wishes to accomplish said mitigation without negatively impacting businesses and residents in their daily lives, and whereas there are known effective ways of combating the spread of COVID-19 and its variants, whereas this resolution is being put in place to mitigate the burden being placed on the healthcare system as the rise in COVID cases hinders the ability to attend to the many emergent non-COVID patients in need of services at our area's healthcare institutions. Whereas area hospitals have needed to place ambulatory services on divert, sending patients to other hospitals in the past month. The rapid rate of transmission associated with the Omicron variant will make diversion more frequent. Whereas this resolution is being put in place with many of our neighboring communities in an effort to mitigate the expected burden on the local healthcare systems and our first responders. Now, therefore, the governing body of the Borough of Saraville in the County of Middlesex in the state of New Jersey, by virtue of the authority vested in us by the Constitution and statutes of this state, do hereby establish the following requirements. Effective Tuesday, January 4th, 2022 at 6 a.m., The wearing of masks shall be required in all areas of indoor public accommodation, including but not limited to government facilities, restaurants, bars, gymnasiums, dance studios, recreation facilities, retail stores, cafes, supermarkets, convenience stores, places of worship, commercial establishments, salons, barbershops, banks, healthcare facilities, and hotels. Residents, visitors, employees, and patrons of the above public facilities must wear a face mask at all times except when actively eating or drinking, or when socially distanced at least 6 feet apart from all others for an extended period of time, such as in an office setting, when seated at desk, when performing for an audience, or when conducting worship services. Children under the age of 3 shall be exempt from the above requirements. Any and all of the above terms and provisions shall be subject to modification, alteration, or rescission without notice and at the sole discretion of the Borough of Saraville and its agent. This resolution shall take effect on Tuesday, January 4th, 2022 at 6 a.m. and be in effect until January 31st, 2022 at 11:59 p.m.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, at this point, we'll open to the public for any and all comments regarding the resolution that was just read in full by Jessica. If you wish to speak, please press star 9 now. Okay, where are my participants? There we are. Okay, so I see Mr. Robinson. For the record, please state your name and address, and you're in the public session.
Thank you, Mayor. Jim Robinson, 11 Burrell Square in Parlin. First of all, before I speak on this, I'd like to congratulate Councilman Anoha and Dwayne for and Christian. I have a little bit of experience with planning and zoning, so I congratulate you. If I can help with anything, please don't hesitate. Please don't hesitate to ask. And I would just say this for the record, and the attorney can correct me. I don't think for the mayor to make appointments to the planning board, it needs to be done in a meeting. I think the mayor merely needs to file a letter with the clerk.
It's the mayor's appointments.
Yeah, it's the mayor's appointment, so it doesn't have to be done at a meeting. But I really wanted to speak on the mask resolution, which is a recent addition. And I'm all for personal choice and responsibility. I know a lot of towns are doing this. And I've looked into this, and it isn't really for the benefit of the person making the choice. It's for the benefit of those who don't always have a choice. And I'll give you an example. The other day, I think it was New Year's Eve, I was in ShopRite, and there was somebody at the courtesy booth, and he was excited, and he was vociferous, he was unhappy about something, and he was unmasked. And he was going on and speaking loudly, and the poor customer service rep who was masked, and you could see she was trying to stay out of the path of his spittle. At the same time, she was trying to do her job. And I thought about him, well, you know, if you want to put yourself in harm's way, that's your choice and that's your right. But you're putting some grocery store clerk in harm's way. And I just didn't think that was right. And I would note that we closed the Borough Hall to protect our employees. We make patrons at Fort Grumpy wear masks to protect our employees. And I would hope that we would give our retail businesses the tools to offer their employees that same protection. I'll tell you, I was also in a restaurant in town, and the person serving complained that somebody came in without a mask, and she had to serve them, and she didn't feel safe doing it, and she didn't want to do it. So I would support this resolution. I would hope the council would too. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mr. Robinson. Anybody else from the public wish to speak? Please press star 9. I see another hand raised. Is it Ghalib Syed? You just have to state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Ghalib Syed, 3 Sophie Street, Parlin, New Jersey. Congratulations to new councilors. If I can say, welcome aboard. And I have a quick question here about the mandate which just was read a few minutes ago about the masks. I think one of the clauses or one of the statement was that it should be applied onto the place of worships. We all support wearing masks and protecting us and others as well around us. But how are we going to really enforce this mandate in place of worships? Are you going to send enforcement agencies or something like that to enforce those, or it is totally volunteer?
That by putting this into a resolution, there would come some enforcement. I know that we discussed this briefly, Mr. Frankel, and I believe that you have another discussion to have with the chief in reference to this resolution.
Correct.
It gives what it does is it gives the owners of these particular establishments and places an opportunity now to actually enforce something like you said that you actually support. And in the event that you need the assistance of the police to help enforce that, there's now legal weight behind that. So it would enable you to, if there is an issue, you could call to our police department and call for assistance, because now that would be.
Sorry to interrupt here, but constitutionally, police officers can go and enforce some mandate into place of worships. That's my just want to clarify that.
I would have to check with Mike DuPont on that to know exactly what enforcement abilities that they have within a religious space.
I could certainly, Mayor, look that up if in fact this resolution takes place.
And this resolution is identical to that of East Brunswick and other surrounding towns. They had reached out to us along with, I'm trying to think, Highland Park. I know New Brunswick had already put in a mask mandate, and several other towns have already done so. So we will get you more clarification on that, Mr. Syed, because I think it's an important question.
Absolutely.
But I really do appreciate your comments and you're expressing that you understand and support this, if I heard you correctly.
Absolutely. We are with you on board on this mandate.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. I will just add, because this is about the time that I always check the Middlesex County cumulative totals page, because we no longer get updates from the at the borough level from the county regarding what our total positive numbers are. But we right now, I always hesitate to push the listings here. In Middlesex County, just reported today, Saraville, we had over 323 positive cases, but we are #1 today for number of deaths. Wow. It's the first time that we have been actually #1 on this death total count. We had 3 as it's listed, reported deaths in the last 24 hours, bringing us up to 107. And I'll just ask for just a moment of silence. That's 107 of our residents that we have lost throughout the course of this. And we just have to pray that this is going to pass, but that we don't remember those that we lost. So 3 more of our residents in the last 24 hours we have lost. So our prayers and our thoughts are with their families. For that. Anybody else from the public wish to speak?
Mayor, I have someone who is on a phone and can't raise their hand. How can they indicate that they want to speak?
Let me see. I actually have somebody, it's *9 on the phone, and I do have 2 people in, it looks like in the attendees. One is on a phone and one is by name. So this could be that person. Let me bring them in. But *9. Some caller coming in from the last 4 digits, 1482. You're in the public session. So please state your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and professionals. It's Karen Biebert, 9 Burlington Road.
Hi, Karen.
I have a concern. Hi, Mayor. I have a concern with this mask mandate. At this point, it's been 2 years into the pandemic, over that. I believe that at this point, people have the collective intelligence to make their own decisions without the government intervention and utilize their own risk assessment skills to determine what is right for them and for their families. Businesses, if they want to make a mandate, such as ShopRite or the hair salons, or if they want to make mask that you have to wear a mask, they can simply put a sign on the door without the government intervention. Mr. Robinson's reference to the ShopRite clerk at the courtesy counter, as far as I know, ShopRite does have their employees wearing masks, and they do stand behind a plastic protective thing. So they do have double protection. As far as restaurants, you're going to mandate a mask to walk in the door, but yet when we sit down, we can take them off. And unfortunately, because we're so deep into this pandemic, it doesn't seem like the masks have been that effective, unfortunately. And you want the police to be the mask police. You have a 4-man minimum, and they can't get to where they need. Friday night, they were telling people to if you can get your loved ones to the hospital themselves, do it, because we're just short on all kinds of services. So even with a volunteer and a contracted ambulance company doing the deed. So I just don't see how the government regulation will help. I think it might impede people from going into businesses, which are already hurting small businesses. And I think, that, again, that people are far into this enough to know, and business owners, if they want people to wear a mask in, they simply can put a sign up. So those are my thoughts on the mandate on government overreach.
Okay, thank you for that, Ms. Biebert. Anybody else from the public wish to speak?
Yeah, Steve Bukovic.
Steve Bukovic, please just state your name and address for the record. I just lost my screen. I pushed something. Can you hear me, Steve? I think you're muted, so you just have to unmute yourself.
Steve Bukovic, 165 Madison Street.
Got it, Steve. Thank you.
In light of the fact that both the Centers for Disease Control and the World Health Organization have restated that the main mode of transmission of the virus is through aerosols and not through spittle, as been mentioned before, could the council do a better job of stating why they believe this will be helpful in stopping the spread? And considering that there is an open question regarding houses of worship and limiting them, I would request that this motion be at least tabled so that the public could know more clearly why you believe this is going to actually help them and not just hinder them and make their lives more difficult. And you could clearly state this, and this would not be just another hampering of our lifestyles. Thank you.
Thank you for that comment, Steve. Did the council want to respond? I know that the ordinance, that the resolution specifically addresses the need for the mask as a result of what is happening currently in the healthcare facilities, the neighboring healthcare facilities, New Brunswick and other places being on divert. So I think that might answer some of your questions, Steve. With the ordinance, with the resolution directly in front of me, it actually says that this resolution is being put in place to mitigate the burden being placed on the healthcare system as the rise in COVID cases hinders the ability to attend to many emergent non-COVID patients in need of services at our area healthcare institutions. In talking to some of the other elected officials across other towns, that's really, and I'm going to call out Mayor of East Brunswick, Dr. Cohen, because he's actually in the center of the hospitals. That's why he stated that this was such a concern for him in his town. Again, this has to be voted on by the council, but I'll just read a little bit more about that resolution because, Steve, I don't know if you have it in front of you, so I'll just add this. It also states that area hospitals have needed to place ambulatory services on divert, sending patients to other hospitals in the past month. The rapid rate of transmission associated with the Omicron variant will make diversion even more frequent. And it says this resolution will be put in place with many of our neighboring communities in an effort to mitigate the expected burden on the local healthcare system and our first responders. When I read this resolution and I see what is happening, my hearts are going out and breaking for those heroes, for all of our healthcare heroes that we have been hailing as literally angels and miracle workers, living through and being put in such a dangerous position. And I do know because my own sister-in-law who works in the hospital right now, she's pregnant. And She was in work every single day on her hospital floor, and she's currently home now with COVID. My brother is also with COVID now, and we're praying that her 2-year-old daughter, my niece, is not going to test positive. But more importantly, we're very, very worried about her unborn child right now because she's only about 18 weeks pregnant. And I know her entire floor, and she's on the non-COVID wing, was stricken with COVID within the matter of only a couple of days. Their rehab floor, but they had somebody come in and it wiped out their entire floor. So when I look at this, I'm seeing it more as a cry for help and us trying to do the best we can for those first responders and our healthcare workers that we've taxed so much through this pandemic. That's my feelings on it. I don't know how other people feel. Again, it will have to come to the council. Anybody else? Okay.
Sure, I'll share my opinion as well.
Go ahead,
Mayor.
Michelle.
No problem. Unpopular opinion, I'm also for it. I think we've given people personal choice and the numbers are showing that it's not working. I'm a data person and I receive data every day that tells us that our ambulance service has been negatively affected. Our police department has been negatively affected. Our schools are getting negatively affected. We're on the road to shut back down, and I don't want that. I want to be in school. Our kids belong in schools, and is the alternative mandatory vaccines. I don't think we want to go in that direction. So yes, I'm for the masks.
Second time I got lowered.
Yeah, Michelle, you know what? I'm gonna tag on to that. I know it'll likely be upsetting for some, businesses and some that are concerned with, well, how do I police that? I mean, you put up a sign, we lead people to what the data suggests that the masks will help slow the spread. I know a heck of a lot more children are getting it now as well. I know they're wearing their masks in school. But if there's there's a greater level of consistency, I'm hopeful that, doing this does help slow and reverse the trend somewhat. It's a month. I don't think that we're going to see police out in businesses enforcing it. As the mayor said earlier, if someone needed to file some sort of complaint, or there is some strength behind it in an ordinance, but it's not as if the police are going to be patrolling looking for masks. So I think it's good advice, and it's a stern piece of advice by putting it in an ordinance to have the masks. Obviously it's still a person's choice to do so. But listen, I've seen so many people with it. I'd love to be able to slow it down somehow. And right now it seems like this is one of the only things that we have to help slow it down. And, if it affects a business, I'm sorry for that. I hate to see that happen. Hopefully it doesn't. If it's consistent across the board, then, people will still go to businesses the way they always do. And, everybody will carry on, and that'll be that. And maybe, some fewer people will wind up with this, and we could start to go back the other way. So, I echo what you said.
And if I may offer, Mayor, and
Absolutely.
alternate position, 15 days to flatten the curve. We tried this. We don't have any proof that masking does not stop anything or prevent anything. It is applied inconsistently, which it should be. It does tend to hurt businesses. And it seems to be empowering a new subculture of mask police and fighting and discontent with those who have a mask and don't have a mask. That incident on an airplane was just insane. And I travel regularly, and you see that just walking around, that someone will do a judgment, and it is for your own protection. It's your decision how you want to protect yourself and your family. I'm not a doctor, no one here is, and I'm not seeing the doctor in East Brunswick. So I may not agree with his opinion, and I don't think it's our place to make that decision. People already know that vaccines are available and free. They can get booster shots. They can wear a mask. They can wear a double mask. If you look at the CDC website, they also have listings that currently baby spinach is being pulled off the shelves for Listeria and E. coli. And I don't think we should be here making a judgment that to be safe, we pull all baby spinach off. And by the way, let's take all leafy vegetables off because they may be a problem. So I think this is overstepping our powers. I don't think it's the right place. I don't think it's the right solution. And I don't think it's our solution. I think it's an individuals and their families to make that decision. And they will be the ones to make the right decision.
Okay. Let's see, in the public, we do have another hand raised, I believe. Let's see. Steve, I do believe that your hand is up again. I don't see anybody else in the public. So go ahead, Steve.
Most of the points raised did not address the fact that both the Centers for Disease Control and the World Health Organization have clearly stated that the main mode of transmission is not through spittle or droplets, but through aerosols, which the overwhelming majority of studies have shown that masks do not provide any statistically significant protection from this. The thing you're looking to do will not protect any more people, and it will not bring what you're looking to bring, but it will only cause hardships for the local businesses and annoyance for people in town.
Thank you for your comments, Steve. I do believe that there was that Art that I saw? Art, your hand is up. Just say your name and address for the record, please.
Arthur Rittenhouse, 33 Delacat Lane, Sayreville. I have to agree with Councilwoman Roberts. There's so much going back and forth that we're imposing things, and especially I was concerned with the religious part of that being enforced the way it was mentioned. But the CDC keeps changing the rules. It was 14 days, then it was 10 days, and now it's 5 days. National leaders are flocking to Florida so they can go out and dance and drink at places that don't require masks, yet in their own districts, they're requiring masks. So, I mean, it's, there's so much out there. Hospitals, yes, and it is a concern, the illness, and I don't think anybody's saying it's not, but we do have to have that personal choice of what to do. Most people don't realize hospitals run at 95% capacity, and now they're worried because they're at 98. So it's not like they went from 20% to 98. They went from 95 to 98. So it's, sometimes there's exaggeration of these figures. I know a company in town that has required masks continuously, and there's not a problem. People, if they don't want to wear the mask, then you don't have to go. That's your choice. But I think a lot of companies do put up a sign that they prefer people wearing their masks, but they don't mandate it in some of them. Kohl's, for example, recommends you wear a mask when you go into Kohl's, but they're not mandating it. I guess now in East Brunswick, they're going to have to. But, there's other communities that haven't gone this route. And I think maybe you need to look at what you're saying in that. I think there's a large overreach in this, in the ordinance. So, that's, maybe you need to table it and discuss it a little further. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rittenhouse. Is there anybody else in the public? Okay, yes, 1482, I think that's Karen. before we close our discussion on this, unless somebody else
Hi.
has a statement. Go ahead, Karen.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, very good. One thing I would like to bring to point. I don't think people are getting it when they walk into, grab a sandwich at a deli or this or that. We had 4 major holidays where families were gathering. We've had Thanksgiving, we've had Kwanzaa, we've had Christmas, we've had Hanukkah. Perhaps this is the reason why we have a bigger explosion, because of people getting together with their families and then taking it out. But as far as, running into businesses, I just think that it's more of a problem from all the family gatherings, myself personally, rather than to have to restrict businesses for people that are just in and out. And even like in a place like ShopRite, people aren't shopping one on top of the other. They're pretty much socially spaced out. And if you've looked in ShopRite lately, a lot of people are wearing masks. So by their own cognitive intelligence, they've chose to do this.
Thank you for that, Karen.
You're welcome, Mayor.
I appreciate that. I won't be so bold as to.
And again, the schools have required masks all year, and there's still problems. So what are the masks doing? To impose this on businesses and small business owners and whatnot just doesn't seem to be. I have to agree with Mr. Rittenhouse and Councilwoman Roberts and Mr. Bukovic on all their collective points.
Thank you very much for that. I won't be so bold, being that I'm only a language arts teacher, in saying whether or not you're catching COVID from a grocery store, from touching a product. I try to follow the science to the best of my ability, but I will not be so bold as to say definitively where we are getting especially with Omicron, it is such a different variant. I will say this, and I believe the council received probably the same letter from our police president, the PBA president, just the other day. We are aware that within the police department, as well as within our own employees here, the word that the president used to describe what occurred within our police department was that as a result of, and I don't want to say it the wrong way, it says, I am not sure if you have been informed, but even our paid service that we use through JFK, our ambulatory services, has been decimated with COVID, making it difficult for them to respond to calls. As a result, the PBA president also mentioned that there was an issue with shifts and the number of people that we normally have on as a result of everything from vacations to the COVID outbreaks that we have. We're all trying, I think, to do our absolute best. And our police department, I commend them, and I commend Captain Kiernan and the chief and Captain Plumacher and the rest of the officers for their ability to work in such stressful conditions. And when it comes to this resolution, I just feel any little thing that we can do to potentially mitigate the spread, help our first responders, help our heroes that have worked on the front lines of this pandemic. Every little ounce that I can do to help them, I want to be able to do it. So with that being said, is there anybody else in the public? I don't see any addition.
Councilwoman Junifor has her hand up.
Councilwoman Junifor, I'm sorry. I was looking at the attendee list. Go ahead, Councilwoman.
Wait a minute. This is the public portion. Can we close the public portion and then let the council people speak?
I mean, we can. Normally hasn't been an issue, but if you wish to make a motion to close the public portion, by all means, go ahead.
I make a motion, we close the public portion and we get rid of this ordinance.
Okay, well, I think we have to do just one thing first. So is that a motion to close the public portion?
Yeah, I make a motion to close the public portion and the resolution not be adopted.
And table.
Then can we at least let Councilwoman Junifor speak then? Prior to
what usually should happen is when they cast their vote, they speak as to why they're casting their vote one way or the other.
I'm
Because we'll
sorry,
never get to them.
Councilwoman June 4th, I would have allowed you to speak, but at this moment after closing the public before the vote, but apparently Councilwoman Novak would rather close the public and make the motion and restrict you from speaking until it's your turn to vote. That's fine. I would have done it a different way.
You still need a second. You still need a second, Mayor.
There's no second.
Right.
So if there's no second, we don't vote on this, right?
Well, we need to close the public portion, or we need to allow Councilwoman
Okay.
June
I think
4th to
separate. I think we need to close public portion
Two
first.
things. Okay.
So is there a motion to close the public portion?
Yes.
Yes.
Is there a second? I believe there's a second. Can we have a roll call? Can we have an all in favor to close the public portion?
Aye.
Any opposed? Wonderful. Councilwoman June 4th, would you like to speak?
Thank you so much, Mayor, and I appreciate the council and everyone that's on. What I would like to actually say is I actually come from a medical field background, and I was serving as an emergency medical technician for about 5 years. Even while I was in college, I did volunteer in 2 different towns, and I also worked for a transportation company, and I've also done 911 calls personally. And the reason why I'm stating this on the record, is because prior to my swearing in, I had the privilege to talk to the 2 people who were sworn in the EMS department, and I also spoke with Mr. Dexter. And they expressed some of their concerns when it comes to the Omicron variant. The Omicron variant, the hospitalization rate in children is actually increasing. When you actually look at a children's diagram, if you were able to ever look at a children's diagram, children actually have the potential of suffering airway breathing much more than adults. God forbid it now results into a heart issue. That's one. Based off of what the staff at the court was actually reading to us tonight, it says that this resolution will not impact residents or businesses. And it will take in effect January 4th to January 31st, which is about 28 days, almost to 30. That's one. And it's saying that while you are going out to eat and drink, you can take off your mask. And when it comes to a place of worship, my church is not in town, but we wear masks because the mayor there signed an executive order. Some people come to church with their masks, some people don't. But prior, when COVID was at its peak, which was the Delta variant, this variant, we don't know too much about, but based off of the information that we have been given, is actually not even called a spike anymore. They have been categorizing this as a tsunami. That's another thing. The place of worship, I had police officers walk into my church before. I'm not sure if the mayor is actually doing that in this part, but where my church is, they just said they were actually coming to say hi. But I know they're actually checking to see whether or not people were actually wearing masks or not. That's what I believe they were doing so. But what I'm just saying is I actually want to come from the aspect of public safety from those people that I was able to speak to. When we look at 911 calls being taken from other towns, number one, yes, is a gain to us because we're taking other towns' money if we respond to their calls. But if we're not available to respond to our own calls in-house, we lose money. And another thing also is the town that takes our calls can charge us double also too. That's another thing. It is true, ma'am. It is because I'm so sorry, Miss Mary.
I'm a member of the emergency squad.
I also volunteered. I volunteered, ma'am, and I'm okay. I'm sorry. I'm going to continue with what I'm saying, please. And another thing also, with due respect, I respect my elders. I'm not going to cut over you, please. Thank you. So another thing that I'm saying also, with due respect, is that I am in favor of choices. Yes, I'm in favor that everyone has a choice. You have a right to do whatever you want to do with your lives. But I am saying this as stating this on the record is that the reason why it's just 28 days. Let's see if it works. If it doesn't work, then we can now say that, okay, this 28 days, it didn't work. Yes, we had family gatherings, and that's why the numbers are increasing. That's why there's flight cancellation and so many things that are going on. I don't think it's a bad idea to do so. I'm speaking from this aspect where our medical field is being affected. People, those, and I thank you for the text message too. For those of us who are in the medical field, you're not behind the medical field. I'm no longer in the medical field. I'm now in IT, but you're not there with us. I have some of my coworkers calling me and crying. My former coworkers, they're crying to me. You don't have to be in the ambulance. What if we ever came to the point where you're calling 911 and it's taking you 3 hours for 3 hours to respond? In New Jersey, we don't have that much trauma centers. It's really sad that our trauma units are being packed with COVID patients, with due respect. And trauma is a level 4, with due respect. And when you actually think about it, the trauma is actually supposed to be for MVA, gunshots, or anything, but they're having COVID patients. Our trauma units are being wiped out, which is totally wrong. So that means, God forbid, if someone has a gunshot wound or is in an MVA or a helicopter and they're taken to a hospital, 9 times out of 10, they're either going to be averted because it's packed with COVID patients. Yes, I think that there's a better way that we can do other things, but I really think that we should give this a try if the public can hear it. And I gave you a list of reasons, and I would like to advise everyone to go do your own research. Don't go based off of feelings or emotions. Do your own research. Read. God gave you a mind. He gave you a brain. Go read. Read. Don't let people influence you. Go read.
So I have to ask, you said it's only 28 days, Councilwoman. We tried 15 days. We tried practically 2 years. How does this 28 days differ?
I'm so sorry, Ms. Roberts. I really appreciate you. And I thank you so much for even giving us this opportunity. But with due respect, even with that ordinance, some people did not follow it. And that's where we're back where we are again. So with this,
the same is going to happen the next 28 days.
I believe that this will be a little bit different because with this, those other times, people were not gathering. This time, when you actually look at it, we had Thanksgiving, we had New Year's, we had Christmas, we had so many things together. I really think that we should give it a try and just hear it. It's not saying that. And another thing is businesses
we have gathered throughout the entire time.
Ms. Roberts, I totally agree with you, but I'm sorry. I would just want to say something, please. Thank you very much. But another thing also, what I wanted to say was that with due respect, is that when you actually look at some businesses are closing down because business owners are losing staffs. Business owners are also being killed. This is really sad. I don't want any business to go down. My parents own business and my mother's on the phone now. She's listening. I know business owners. I've spoken to them. They're understaffed. They're really understaffed.
There are a lot of reasons why they're understaffed, and it's not necessarily
it's due to the
directly related.
We don't need
directly.
Ms. Roberts, I totally respect you, and you're my good friend. And I would never want to go against you, but ma'am, excuse me. Again, another thing that I would like to say, with due respect, again, I would like to say this with due respect, is that we don't want a situation where things will mature when we finally do something about it. That, with due respect, that's stupid. That's really silly.
So when you're done talking, let me know when I can respond.
That is really silly to try to attack something when it's matured. You attack it when it's at its lower stage and you kill it off. That's like killing cancer cells. You don't wait till cancer mature before you attack it. That's really silly. It's really silly with due respect. And I'm giving back to you the floor. Thank you so much. I just said what I said from a medical background, former medical background, and that's all. Thank you.
I respect your position from a medical point of view, and I agree with that. I'm not saying I don't agree with that. I am saying that it is not our job on this council to dictate how people behave in that fashion. My opinion
I
is
never
that
said so,
people
ma'am.
know that they can do that.
I never said so.
mask,
I'm on the record, so I think we should play the record again, but I never said so. We should dictate it. That's a strong word to use. I'm not a dictator.
No, you said, what word did I use that was incorrect? I'm sorry. Because I heard you say that you support the 28 days for the mandate.
But that's not a dictatorship. That's not dictating. I'm not dictating
I didn't say dictatorship. I didn't say that. I'm sorry to people thought that way.
I'm suggesting that we should give it a try or hear it out. I didn't dictate it. I don't dictate things for people.
I didn't say you dictated. I said you support the 28-day mandate, right? Mandate, not dictate, mandate. So you support the 28-day mandate. I say I support people wearing masks. I support them getting vaccinated. I don't support a government entity telling them that they must for 28 days, for 15 days, for 2 years. And my position is not a medical position. My position is a position of this is not the council's job. The rest of us aren't doctors. The doctor in East Brunswick is not my doctor, and I don't want to follow some random person's advice. And I do look at the numbers and the research, and I know what the risks are, as do most people in Sayreville and throughout the country. So I think we all know what we're facing and have the choices to protect ourselves. I don't think we should mandate the protection or the choices others make. So I respect your background. I respect your medical opinion. I just believe that the mandate is something that is a personal medical decision, not something that should be mandated for 28 days, for 2 years, for 2 minutes. And my position is not medical, it is to support choice.
Thank you for both of your comments. This is clearly what we're seeing here. And Councilman Christian, I'll let you speak in a moment here. I think this is what we're seeing whenever this type of resolution or issue comes up. I think we're going to see this a lot. I respect the fact that we're looking at a small amount of time here in order to try and make a difference, make an effort. And I continue to go back to the fact that I look at these hospitals, I look at the numbers, I hear the pleas from people that are in these facilities that are exhausted. And again, I think anything that we can do, as little as it is, to just mitigate that spread and see what happens for the sake of all mankind is worth it. It's worth that little sacrifice. Councilman, you may speak. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm deeply grateful, actually. And for those who, from the public background that, expressed their views on this, there were a lot of very, very, what I consider to be very interesting points. I think one being in the understanding of how, this variant spreads, that it's not necessarily in the most traditional format, which would be, orally, but rather it spreads much differently. From my understanding, I think, the gentleman who referred to, the WHO's, recent findings and the CDC's, that it just doesn't spread as traditionally as previous variants. And there were more comments that, we have lived with this virus, for many years, and we've been able to navigate through it. However, it's also fair to understand that we haven't lived with this variant for 2 years. And in my personal life, I do know folks that have been affected. I'm even almost of the opinion that this affects the more minority communities, which is as to why the research is not necessarily coming from whether it's China or somewhere else, but more from South Africa or Niger, or just countries of just a more diverse background in reference to African American populations, which is why a lot of access from those countries into America, was cut off for a good amount of time. But with that being said, my personal understanding of the law is that it's borderline, infringing on rights. But then at the same time, it's also important to consider that, the numbers are rising, right? I'm looking at more data today, and this is literally more numbers than we've seen for any other variant. So, I really want us to really consider this. And, I think Eunice just really hit a really deep topic just now that, the real conservative approach is to attend to this earlier than much later. Although there really isn't proof that it will attend to it actually. The mask, it's not proven that it works. The data shows that the cloth mask, which most people are prone to using, isn't really effective, in all honesty. I think it's only, if I'm not mistaken, the N95s that are considered even effective to this variant.
They have also the N100s, which is better. That has filter. For those who are complaining about breathing, they have the N100s. You can order it on eBay. You can filter the air.
Yeah, and the thing to consider, my highest councilwoman is a lot of folks and this is my opinion now, and I believe that this affects a more minority background. I think these are also more likely to not be able to afford or have access as consistently, to such materials, So overall, and these are, in my opinion, again, the still same population that is likely to be regulated and emphasized against. As you mentioned, the churches we attend, these are likely to be churches of minority communities that are policed first, that are attended to first. And meanwhile, they may not always have the economic, conditions to get, the effective material. So, when I'm looking at this mandate, and I'm trying to gauge, how effective will it really be? But then at the same time, what alternative do we have? If the only alternative we have is, let people just do as they please and consider it, from their own comfort, because we've lived with it for many years. Again, we haven't lived with this variant for many years. This variant is considered, I think someone mentioned, a tsunami. It just isn't like the previous variants. And I had the opportunity to talk to a couple of businesses today, mostly the ones in Harlem, from Santino's to Elides, to my local Quick Check in Walwyn, and just, I think I told like 4 businesses in Parliament, one in Cedarville, and I'm looking to having more conversations in this area. And one thing I've been able to gather is, the business owners are more concerned with 2 things. Number one, a total shutdown, and number 2, their staff getting sick and they now being more understaffed than they consider themselves to already be. And then number 3, from my findings, was now the personal inconvenience in their own personal lives. So that's just, but then I have folks who say that no, that the businesses that they spoke to say the exact opposite. So, I'm looking forward to hearing more of those opinions, but my personal life, those that I've been able to talk to at least today, and I'm looking forward to having more conversations. It's really the fear of a total shutdown and the staff getting sick. And yet there's not enough data to show how to stop this spread. So, one thing I would love to consider is, even if this is motion to wear masks for I think 28 days or 30 days or so, what kind of mask are we wearing, right? Are we wearing masks that we know will not affect anything, right? And what about the provisions for the masks that will, right? Especially for those who they're not in that economic position. And number 3, one thing I'm also willing to consider is, how are we sure that what we put in place will actually bring a stop to the actual spread? As someone mentioned that, the research shows that mask is not really shown to be the most effective for this variant, and so overall, those are really the three things that are my concerns that I'm considering. But I don't believe that we can do nothing. I think that would be even worse. The last thing I would ever want is to visit someone in my life that was negatively affected by this, and for them to say that, hey, you could have helped prevent this, and I have nothing to say because there was no action done. And I do agree. I think it was Eunice that said it. No action, early on would be very foolish because we've seen how the lack of action will still affect us, from a previous experience. So, So I do want something to be done, but I'm more eager for something that even the science says is effective. So, if there are more ideas towards this, I'll be willing. But overall, I do know that something must be done though. Looking at the numbers that are increasing and hearing what businesses are saying. So that's kind of my general portion in terms of how I'm considering this and kind of how I'm weighing it.
Thank you all very much for your comments on this. I know this is a very, very tough. Go ahead, Mary.
I'd like to, a couple of things. Number one, I've been in EM since 1973. And it's well known that 99% of the masks that are being worn out there will do nothing to stop the spread of COVID. This is a feel-good piece of legislation. You're trying to make everybody think you're doing something. Unless you're wearing an N95 mask or an N100 mask, you're not. These masks do not work. Besides the fact, every time you give away a little bit of your freedom, you never get it back. Any business in town has the opportunity. Every church has the opportunity to say, you're not allowed into our establishment or into our place of worship without a mask. We can't enforce this. There's absolutely no way of enforcing this. There's no teeth to even this resolution. What do you do? What's the punishment? You're telling people they have to wear a mask, but there's no punishment if they don't. So all this is feel-good legislation. But in reality, you're putting store owners in a position of telling their customers to try to enforce it with their customers, and they are not the health police. And I just want to correct one statement that was made before. We do not make any money by answering first aid calls in our own town or in any other town. Our volunteers get absolutely nothing, whether they service a patient in Sayreville or one out of town. And the hospital, when they're answering a call, they make money. The town makes nothing. So we're taking away people's rights. I mean, we have a constitution that we're infringing on every single day of the week, plus the fact this is not going to do any good.
Wait, but I'm curious though, if you don't mind, Councilwoman. I've spent some time also having conversations on this past week in terms of the infringement on people's rights, and we do have an attorney here, right? Can you shed more light so that even for the public as well, so that they can have a clear background as to whether this is an infringement from a constitutional standpoint,
Well, again, it's not a simple yes or no on an infringement of constitutionality. This is a resolution. There is some penalty provision, I guess, in here. It does only, according to the way I'm reading it, goes from January 4th, 2022 to January 31st, 2022. I know that the constitutionality argument dealt with, and there were some cases on it, but they dealt with state and federal requirements. Here you are talking about a municipality and it's a resolution. So there could potentially be some constitutional questions on this type of resolution.
And I think overall, from the federal and from the state background, it didn't stand as unconstitutional. Although I may interpret it that way, although many folks may interpret it that way, it doesn't stand in the court of law as officially unconstitutional. And that's just one element to it. But overall, for those, and again, I really want to get your take, Councilman Novak, because you're of the opinion that it should just be tossed, without even conversation. I really want to understand, your background as to why, or what alternative you have when the numbers are rising across our state. People are dying actually. So what besides masking, do you have any other take as to what can help our residents, help our businesses? What alternative are you willing to suggest, or is your take to kind of just sit back and just kind of play it easy and just tell everyone else to kind of play it easy and just do whatever they feel?
So at this point, I do believe that our public portion is closed on this issue, and we do need to have a motion so that we can move forward with business on this particular item. Is there a motion to move the resolution and take a vote on roll call vote? To accept, do I have, Michelle? You're muted.
Yes, I make.
Can I make a motion to table this?
I think Michelle just made the motion to vote, so.
A second.
Motion to
And we need
table
a
is always
second.
in. I second Donna's tabling.
I did not hear Donna's tabling. I heard Michelle's motion. I did not hear a second, though. Is there a second on Michelle's motion?
I make a motion
it.
to table.
So
I didn't hear
I
Michelle's.
have a motion and a second.
Wait, whose motion is which? I didn't even hear Michelle.
Michelle made the motion to adopt on
Yes.
roll call. And Councilwoman June 4th seconded that motion.
I'm gonna go to roll call.
We're gonna go to roll call. Thank you, Jessica.
Councilpersons Mar,
Yes.
Conti,
So
Oh, geez.
I've heard so much
Mother
feedback
Christ.
on both sides. You know, and then I hear Mike saying about some potential legal issues that we may have. You know, I was going in a direction here, but I feel compelled to table it and think about how this is written, so we're protected and we're representing the people, all the people, in the proper way. I just, you know, with this kind of a debate going so strong on one side and so strong on the other, and then challenges, it's not black and white. I feel like we may need to sit down and take another look at it and write it perhaps in a way that satisfies more people and is not such a 50-50 split down the middle. So I mean, that's what I don't know how I represent that, but I kind of think we need to take another look at it.
Okay,
so that's a no?
The no?
Has to be a no.
It's a no.
Yeah, that's a no.
Is it a no?
Sadly, I gotta say no now.
Okay.
Okay.
Councilpersons June 4,
Yes.
Novak,
No.
Anoha,
You know, again, you know, I do think it's controversial, but I think I agree with Vincent in the area of we need to take a look, right? We need to take a deep look. We need to take a greater look. But I think that in the meantime, it is worth being fair to you know, to ourselves, right? To play it conservative, you know, play it safe. We had a lot of time to spend with family, to enjoy ourselves. I think someone mentioned we had about 4 holidays back to back to back. I think that this is time to play it easy, play it cool, be a bit conservative on this, mask up, and do some more research. So I'm going to vote yes for now for the first 28 days.
Roberts,
I am a hard no.
it's 3-3, Mayor.
That's a yes for me. May God keep us all safe, and let's hope that this does a little bit of good. And thank you all for your comments. It is a tough decision, but I'm going to go with my heart. And as a COVID survivor, I do not wish any of this, what I suffered through and what I watched so many family members suffer through, and 107 of our residents that have lost somebody. Let's give it a shot. Let's give it a shot, and let's pray that we're all safe and through this. Let's make
So can we have a
2022 a better
commitment,
year.
Mayor, can we have a commitment that after this period, we are done with mask mandates? We are done.
Well, that's up to the council. I don't get to
Ordinance
make that
only goes to
commitment.
20 days.
I think it's up to the
I'm
numbers. I think it should be up to the numbers, honestly.
It's not up to the mayor. I can't make that decision. That's what you guys are here for. I can only vote when there's a tie. So it will be what you guys decide moving forward. If there's a tie, then it becomes my decision. But at this point, you know, the council was split. It came to me, and I made my decision. I can't turn around and execute power that I don't wield. So I appreciate your comment, Donna, but I think the council would be, you guys are the ones that have to answer that. So we have joined
the council that they commit now that after this 28-day period, we are done with the mask mandate. It does not come up again, that we've taken it to its fullest extent. Can we agree to that at this meeting publicly right now?
That's tough to predict the future on what comes of this. I don't.
We said that we would try it for 28 days and we would see if that makes a difference. If it makes no difference, like everything else has made no difference, do we agree that this will not happen again? There will be no other mask mandate or any other mandate?
I definitely, sorry, I don't know if I'm talking over Vince here, but I definitely believe that if we can get this right for 28 days, you know, that there should be a commitment for all of us to now remove the mandate.
Whether we get it right or not, we're done.
Well, I don't think that that's your authority, but I'm saying that there definitely should be, and I, you know, it's for the record here. You know, we ought to remove the mandate, assuming, you know, we as a community get it right. For
That's what I'm asking. 28 days. We agree here that we're going to do this, but
respectfully, you know, I want to answer the question because
I believe he was speaking. You can go ahead, Councilman Onoha.
You know, I feel that as though for the next 28 days, you know, we go with this mandate, we take it easy, play it cool. I think if we do it the right way, the numbers go down and we can commit to now removing the mandate. And then hopefully by that time, there'll be more research. You know, there'll be more details coming in from the African regions and other regions that are more highly affected.
Excuse me, that's not what I asked. What I asked was, we do this for 28 days, regardless of the outcome, we are done with mandate.
Not regardless of the outcome. I don't see why anyone would make a decision regardless.
That's what I was afraid of.
This sounds dictating, the same word that was used for me.
To make a decision regardless of outcome, I think that outcome is what we base the decisions on. You know, I know that
and the outcome for the past few years has been
the data shows that the safest way to prevent you know, these positive testing, I think they rank #1 as social distancing. That's the highest you know, overall you know, preventative measure for this variant, and then everything else is second. So I think primarily we should focus on the social distancing, but adding 28 days, given that we just came after a holiday, you know, is fitting for now. And let's see what the results are afterwards, and let's see what the results are in our neighboring communities. And then from there, we can now make you know, the motion to now remove or to keep it off.
So at this point, we can say I was just trying quickly to look up how many towns have already adopted almost, well, pretty much this exact resolution. There's quite a few. I think I've counted so far at least a dozen, and let's hope that collectively this works. But more importantly, my thank you and my hearts go out to our first responders, to everybody working in the medical field, to our police, to our EMS, to our fire, and to all those people that right now are on the front lines of this latest, and I'll use the word that Eunice used, tsunami of Omicron. Let's hope for the best here. We're going to move forward now at this point, and that is to the public portion on any and all comments, not just related to rezos. So if you have a comment, we are going to keep this to the 5 minutes. So I'm going to ask our borough clerk and our business administrator if you would just put a timer on and actually put on so that way we can hear the timer. Maybe if you could set it for 4 minutes, and that way when it goes off, set it to ring, so that way we know when we're approaching the 1 minute. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, anybody from the public wish to speak, please raise your hand by pressing *9 now on your phones. Seeing none at this point. Oh, hold on. I'm scrolling through. I don't see any.
Yeah, Mr. Syed.
Mr. Syed, you're in the public portion. Your name and address, please, once again for the record.
Galib Syed, 3 Sophie Street, Parlin.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for having this mandate in place. I just wanted to make a comment on that. All the ladies and gentlemen who are making the decision for town of Saraville, you yourself, and when you walk out and go into public place, you don't go without wearing a mask. So why shouldn't we also suggest softly, or maybe with kind of a mandate or a campaign that if you don't wear masks and don't save lives, then who will, right? So I think we are in the right direction, and that's just a thought I had, that when we are going with my kids, I'm walking out and I'm enforcing in my home that, hey guys, wear masks. So I think it's a good idea to have softly enforce that. And of course, if somebody comes and tells me, hey, you're not wearing masks, and move up a little bit. I just went to Houston on 24th of December. I came back on 28th. I saw not many people wearing masks, and I saw many people of those who are not wearing masks has affected by the new virus or any type of COVID they were affected. So that exactly tells us that the enforcement on ourselves as a discipline that will only give benefit. However, when it comes to a mandate, we just need to have a mandate in place, a softly enforced, like you guys have mentioned, that it is going to be, you have to articulate in a way that it shows that is a enforcement, yet it is a friendly enforcement. So I think we are in the right direction. I congratulate you for having this mandate in place, and hopefully we all will save each other's lives. Again, the other thing is how we are going to enforce. In my mosque, or place of worship, we have a box of a mask, and each person coming in and putting on masks. So it is just, they are automatically understood that we got to wear masks for ourselves and others as well. So that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Syed. Go ahead, Christian.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was a public or if he's part of the borough officials, but
No, that was public portion. So what we'll do is we'll go through the rest of the public portion. If anybody else has anything to say, I don't see anybody else with their hand raised. So at this point, I'll entertain a motion to close the public portion.
I'll make a motion to close the public portion.
All in favor?
Who was the second?
Aye.
I believe it was Vince that made the motion. Who was the second on that? Michelle?
Hey, Mary.
Or Mary? Okay, thank you. All in favor? Any opposed?
Aye.
Fabulous. I'm sorry, I thought Christian had something to say. I didn't want to.
Yeah, I think in reference to like how it's being mandated, I think from my understanding, there's not really enough staff to really go about the whole entire town enforcing this. I think there was a previous comment on that. And I think that, that understanding is what makes it a quote unquote friendly enforcement, because there's just not enough manpower to actually enforce it, so I think that's just for kind of background sake, but overall, I think that, let's give it a shot for 28 days. Unfortunately, I wish that there was something better that we can do to stop this spread. But I think that no action, will be irresponsible to an extent.
Thank you for that, Christian. Yeah, I don't think anybody here on the council is saying that we're going to start locking people up and throwing them in jail over this. That's not what this enforcement is about at all. So, I'm sure Facebook will be construing it as such in social media, but it's not my understanding that is what is going on here. And again, I know of at least a dozen towns that have adopted the exact same resolution. So we'll see. All right, ladies and gentlemen, at this point, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Excellent. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, ladies and gentlemen, stay safe, be healthy. Happy New Year. See you all in a couple weeks.